devastating perfection in the 80s and the 90s.
Lofting the ball, Irvin is open. Touchdown.
No school played with more swagger, none more fear than the University of Miami's national championship contenders. An attitude, a legacy of Miami Gridiron greatness.
Well, welcome everybody. We're here to watch another Gridiron Great, the University of Miami versus University of Nebraska, a national championship game. And really this game was really the focal point as Miami set up an unprecedented run of 4 national championships from 1983 to 1991. This really put Miami on the map as a true powerhouse. And we're fortunate to be here today in Boca Raton at the University of Florida Atlantic and visiting with Coach Howard Schnellenberger and legendary quarterback Bernie Kosar. So welcome everybody.
Well, welcome Steve to our little campus here. We look forward to working with you during the course of this show.
Yeah, well, we're going to have a good time. We're going to sit down and watch this Gridiron Great in the Founders Lounge here at Florida Atlantic's campus. And really an unbelievable game. Really a lot of things had to fall into place for Miami. If you recall, Miami was number 5 coming into this game against number 1 University of Nebraska. And the number 2 team, Texas, had lost earlier in the day. Number 3 was Auburn, and they won a close game in the Sugar Bowl. And then number 4 was Illinois, who lost in the Rose Bowl. So really Miami had a perfect opportunity to come from number 5 and if they beat Nebraska to win the national championship. And Coach Schnellenberger, you know, all week leading up to that, a lot of things had to happen. What were you telling the team?
Well, I was telling the team that I didn't know how good they could be, and they didn't know how good they could be. We know we came a long, long way from that first loss of the year up there in the swamp against the Florida Gators. Big loss, 28-3. But our kids came back and rebounded from that, and of course went undefeated to get to that point. We had a long time to prepare, and I think the thing that was most important in that is each of our kids took the guidance of their coach and studied the individual player that they were going to play against, because they were so good that everybody felt that there was no chance for us to win. So you got to dissect that and get down to one man on one man. And a good example was Tony Fitzpatrick. Hell, he studied that big what's his name, the big center? Remington. He studied him to the point that he could move before the ball was snapped because he knew when the ball was coming, and he just whipped him all day. And I think that was what our whole team did, and that's why we were so confident going into that game, Bernie.
I mean, Bernie, from a player's perspective, you know, did you guys know that you had a chance if you won to win the national championship?
You know, a lot of people ask, you know, that question, and you know, conceivably, arguably, people were saying that was the best team ever, best team of the decade. I don't know if it was because we were too young to really realize the magnitude and significance of maybe the task at hand, but. One thing is, and emulates from our coach, is we're not lacking in confidence. And I think, you know, the subsequent years of UM teams, you know, you kind of saw you know, sometimes the confidence, maybe a little too much, but we were a very, very confident bunch. And even though we were young and, you know, double-digit underdog, there wasn't a shortage of confidence. And going into the game, you know, I fully expected to win.
Well, Bernie, you know, we had won 24 games and lost 2 in the Orange Bowl at home through the period of time that we were there together, and we had to do a lot of things to get to that Orange Bowl. But that's where we knew we were going if we could win out and beat Florida State in that last game.
Yeah, and actually playing at Doak Campbell Stadium, you know, at that night game and against that defense, that was a tough task to come back and, you know, the final, that 2-minute drive to come back and get the field goal to actually win the invitation to the Orange Bowl.
Well, and there was a lot of great players and a lot of great plays in this ball game, and we're going to get a chance to watch that today. So let's get ready. Let's go over to the big screen TV. Get ready to watch the kickoff of the 1984 Orange Bowl National Championship game, number 1 Nebraska versus number 5 Miami Hurricanes.
John Brody back at the Orange Bowl. We're ready to kick it off. Nebraska getting here with a perfect 12-0 mark. The Huskers started fast, blew out Penn State at Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands, and on they roll, averaging 52 points a game. They've scored more points this season than any team in NCAA history. Miami, 9 consecutive victories. One big and one when they had to come from behind, but they won.
It looked to me like Nebraska's, when they posted those scores, looked like the end of a basketball season.
They score like a basketball team, the Huskers, averaging 52 points a game. Miami has won the toss, but the Hurricanes want to establish their defense against Nebraska's great offense, and Miami has elected to kick off. Jeff Daverson, he's not big, but he can kick it deep. Ready to hit the ball now for the Hurricanes, and there are two great players. Irving Fryer is back deep, ready to take the kickoff, and back with him is Mike Rozier, 6 yards deep in the end zone, and he is counseled not to bring it out. And so the Huskers go on offense, 1st and 10 at their 20, and there's the whip cracker, the man who makes the Huskers go, quarterback Turner Gill. The fullback, big and very quick Mark Shalene, the Heisman Trophy winner Mike Rozier, averaging almost 8 yards a carry. Irving Fryer's another great threat at the wingback position. Ricky Simmons, they don't go to him often, but he can catch the ball and he blocks. And Engebretson, the tight end, is a blocker primarily. So we're ready to go. Nebraska, 1st and 10 from the Huskers 20. They're going to put it up. Turner Gill throws, and he's got his wing back. Irving Fryer didn't get much. He was hit at about the 24-yard line as Coach Osborne now sends in the play. Ken Siska, linebacker, knocked him down. Mark Benning, one of the Nebraska tackles, 300 pounds. Henry Grimminger, the other offensive guard. Next to him, Mike Tranowitz is the center and a good one. Dean Steinkühler, probably the best. Lombardi and Outland winner. Scott Raritan, he's over 300 pounds at right tackle. They got Biggins on the bookends, John.
Don, you can slide all the stats you want about that offensive line, but I'll tell you another one. They average 9 letters per last name right across the line. That means they've got a lot of long names and a lot of big fellas. 270-pound average. And they move people around.
Well, those jerseys are broad enough to carry a lot of letters. And now it's going to be 2nd down and 5 for Nebraska. Opening series of downs. The option, Turner Gill, a pitch back to Rozier, and he's open. Rozier is an open field. And finally, Reggie Sutton knocks him down as Mike Rozier almost breaks at the distance. Good for a 27-yard gain and a 1st down for the Huskers.
Don, to talk about what kind of a feat that is, and we may see a bit more of that today. The Hurricanes have allowed only one running back all year long to gain over 20 yards. That was a 28-yarder. This is the 2nd longest run against this defense all year long by the Heisman Trophy winner. I guess it figures.
And right now, Nebraska breaks the front of the Miami Hurricanes and goes back to Rozier. And again, the power run. And look at Rozier rip it open all the way down to the 30. A free football, though they're going to rule he's down. The officiating crew from the Southeast Conference, an 18-yard gain on that carry by Mike Rozier. Danny Brown knocked him down as the huge Nebraska front just overpowering Miami these last 2 plays.
Well, the coaches were a little concerned. They're not going to blitz, I don't think, as much as they normally would because they want a lot of pursuit. They don't want their linebackers out of position, but Rozier has run right through their position.
1st and 10, Nebraska. Free football. A free ball at the 30-yard line, but Cornhusker, it looks like Scott Raritan or Dean Steinkühler came up with the ball, so they keep it. Danny Brown's a defensive end. They're small, more like outside linebackers. Kevin Fagan, a good pass rusher at 265 pounds. Key player for Miami is the middle guard, Tony Fitzpatrick. And Fred Robinson, not heavy, but very, very fast. Julio Cortez outside on the left side. Jay Brophy gained All-America mention as a linebacker, and Ken Siska is the leading tackler for Miami. First back through is Shalene, and Brophy is waiting for him. Short gain, it'll be 3rd and long. And a penalty marker's down. Reggie Sutton, one corner. They're very hard-hitting, quick corners. Eddie Williams plays free safety. Kenny Calhoun, he'll blitz a lot, and Rod Bellinger's played a great year as the strong corner, comes out on the same side as the tight end.
That's a play we've seen an awful lot of this year, Don. It's one of those both teams have a little personal grudge against one another. Cornerback and wide receiver get after it. They do throw a penalty to tell them to cool down, but no harm, no foul.
Offsetting penalties. And so it'll be 3rd down and 8 again, and they'll go from the 28-yard line. Nebraska looking for a national championship. They've not had one since 1971, and Tom Osborne's had great teams, but never has gone the distance.
Let's see if that stat stays up.
Third and 8 Huskers. No score in the first quarter. Turner Gill all day long fires, and he has in the end. It's broken up. He was going to one of his wideouts, Scott Kimball, but Rod Dellinger was there to break it up. So now an interesting dilemma for Osborne and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. 4th down and 8 coming up. They've only tried 4 field goals all year. And the punter doesn't play in a lot of games.
That's the area where you can see the packed Orange Bowl. This is the area where they take 4 downs to get their first. This is an exception. They feel they have a kicker can kick it 44 yards.
Scott Livingston's the man who will try it. The 45-yard attempt. Turner Gill, the quarterback, will hold. It is down. It's blocked. Miami has the football. So the Miami Hurricanes have this place in absolute pandemonium. They've captured this town. And the Orange Bowl, early as it is in jubilation over a blocked field goal.
The special teams knew they had to come up with some kind of a big play to get something happening early in the ball game. They did that. Remember, this team has kicked only 4 field goals all season. That's the least in modern football history. They made a big play against a weak group.
Bernie Kosar, a 6'5" freshman quarterback, directing the Miami offense, but he plays like a veteran. And he comes out of firing. Wide open is Stanley Shakespeare. He's down to the 34-yard line.
When you take a look, when you're talking about Bernie Kosar, you're talking about a fellow that's quite rare indeed. Now he's got his man down the field. He's in a perfect position. Got to throw it over the top of 2 linebackers. Throws it to Stanley Shakespeare. Picks up a first down. The first play of the evening's a big one.
Real big one. Miami Hurricanes come out of firing, and now they have the ball inside the 35-yard line of Nebraska. 1st and 10. Something back through is Keith Griffin. Archie's little brother takes it inside the 25-yard line, and he has a first down for Miami. The 1984 Orange Bowl is brought to you by Nissan, who invites you to see the new 1984 Nissan 300ZX at your Datsun dealer now. By Goodyear Tires and Goodyear Service for more good years of your car. By Anheuser-Busch St. Louis, Brewers of Michelob, some things speak for themselves. And by Mutual of Omaha, the people you can count on. The Miami Hurricanes, the underdog by 2 touchdowns, driving on their first possession. Now have it 1st and 10, 23-yard line of Nebraska. Kosar with a quick drop. Comes the ball. Shakespeare's open. He's down to the 2-yard line. Kosar firing strikes. 22 yards and a 1st and goal.
Don, he fired a strike to this is an alternate receiver. He's trying to go to the right side, the short side. He's got 3 receivers open on that side. Finally, he finds Stanley Shakespeare in a one-on-one situation with Neil Harris. Throws it right in between the 2 defenders, down to the 1.5-yard line. I've heard how fine this man throws the ball. He's shown it early.
He has really shown it early, and now they're down at the 2-yard line. 1st and goal, Miami. Looking for the first points of the game. Bentley runs, and he didn't get there. The big front line of Nebraska, led by middle guard Mike Tranmer, number 64, threw him back. Osborne knew that Miami came out throwing, and they came out throwing strikes. Kosar with 2 big hits to Stanley Shakespeare. It's 2nd and goal.
And it's good logic. You don't go up there and try and establish that you can't do something against a team like Nebraska. They know where their ace of spades is. It's in number 20. Let him get after it. He's had 6 weeks to prepare for this team, and he started fast.
2nd down and goal, Miami. No score, 1st quarter. Albert Bentley. A big play by Nebraska, Ken Graber.
Don, this is Mark Trestman and Howard Schnellenberger. Mark sends the plays in. This is his first year as a full-time assistant. He has his law degree. He was a graduate at the University of Minnesota. He works with the quarterbacks, and his statement about number 20 is that I've never seen a man with as much awareness as Bernie has. He's going to need it all right here, 3rd and 3.
Watch for the tight end to the right, Glenn Dennison. Kosar takes a look. He throws to Dennison. Touchdown, Miami. Glenn Dennison was indeed the man as he makes his 55th reception of this season. And Coach Schnellenberger and the Hurricanes have something to celebrate early in this game.
But you don't see Howard doing any celebrating. He knows it's a long 3-hour struggle. He's been in a lot of big games before. Don't let people think, fool you and get you the feeling that this is his first big game. He coached with Bear Bryant. He coached with Don Shula in a lot of championship games. He's been there before. This is the first time he's had the controls, however.
And right now, the place kicker comes out. Jeff Davis, ready to try the point after. Glenn Dennison, who caught the touchdown pass. A new dad. Wife gave birth to a little boy last week. And right now, we're going to have a pause. Timeout on the field. 9 minutes and 18 seconds to play first quarter, and here's the touchdown throw again.
All right, you see Dennison, he's a 225-pound, 6'4" tight end that the people think can play professional football. Now, Kosar has helped him a lot throughout the year, but he's supposed to have very nifty feet, real strong hands. When you get down in a situation like this, Kosar had a very small area in which to put the ball, but he did so.
Glenn Dennison, he graded up, trained up, John, from 212 pounds at the last game November 12th to 230 came in tonight. Teammates told him he was eating for 2 instead of his wife.
Yeah, but he didn't lose much speed, and that's why the coaches felt it was all right.
And here's the extra point by Jeff Davis. It's good. And so the Miami Hurricanes get the ball for the first time and take it down the field on the right arm of freshman Bernie Kosar. Finally on the payoff end, it's Kosar to his tight end Glenn Dennison. The Orange Bowl, luminescent on this golden anniversary night of the Orange Bowl game. The Goodyear Blimp Enterprise from Pompano Beach, Florida, high above the Orange Bowl in Miami. Both the pilot of the blimp, Don Plaskonik, and his technical coordinator, Mickey Whitman, attended the University of Miami and played for the Hurricanes in the 60s. Right now, the Hurricanes on defense, the Huskers on offense, 1st and 10, pitch back Brozier. Winston Moss, number 92, and Joe Willie Namath is on the sidelines after Moss made the stop.
And people might say, why is Joe Willie sitting over there on the Hurricane sideline? Well, in truth, the man that got him to Alabama was Howard Schnellenberger, and he invited him to come down and sit on the bench with the fellas, and Joe didn't take long to make a decision.
Joe ain't sitting, nobody is. 2nd down and 10, Nebraska. Pitch back, Brozier, they get him, there they lose him, and now Rod Bellinger, not big at 5'9", 185, but he's a sticker, comes up to make a big hit. It's 3rd and long.
Okay. You take a look, we mentioned over 90%. The Huskers throw on 3rd and long. Now they've got their favorite play, a little option play from number 12 to Rozier. When it doesn't go anywhere, they're sitting in a throwing situation. That's what Miami's been trying to get.
3rd down and 12. Turner Gill throws a strike to Rozier, but they get him short of the 1st down. As the white shirts come gang tackling, again led by Rod Bellinger, number 4. Rod's backup, Doug McFadden, was the young man helped off the field short time ago. But Bellinger makes consecutive big plays, and Nebraska has to punt the ball. They've punted the football this season less than any team in 38 years, not since the Nevada-Reno team of 1948. Has any team punted as few times as has Nebraska, 36 times in 12 games.
48, that was Marion Motley up there, wasn't it?
A high punt downfield. Livingston hitting the ball, and it's going to roll out. 33-yard punt by Scott Livingston. He wanted more. And out comes Kosar and the Hurricane offense for a 2nd time. They went the distance the first time they had the ball, and Miami leads the game 7-0. A look at the Miami offense. Bernie Kosar, the freshman quarterback. Albert Bentley. They say that Rozier's the Rolls Royce of runners, but Miami has its Bentley. Keith Griffin, Archie's little brother with that big run. Shakespeare with the 2 big receptions in that first touchdown drive. Eddie Brown is the deep threat, though. He's the guy to watch, number 40. And Dennison, who caught the touchdown ball.
I think he must have been the guy they've been watching.
Bernie Kosar sets Miami down at the 31-yard line. To the run to Albert Bentley. And he's hit and hard at about the 32-yard line. Ken Graber, the middle guard, again making the stop for Nebraska. Coach Osborne in his 11th year as the head man. They say you can't follow the great ones. He did. Bob Devaney had 11 straight winning seasons and back-to-back national championships. When he retired, in came Osborne with great teams year after year. He's not yet gone the distance. This could be his year. Right now, Miami with the ball leads 7-0. Kosar's hit all 3 of his throws so far for 47 yards and a touchdown. Again, he goes to Dennison, but this time the coverage is good by inside linebacker Mark Daum, number 51.
A little better than good, Donnie. He had a good 6-7 counts to throw that ball. Remember, Kosar's offensive line is excellent. They played 5 games without making a mental error, letting anybody get in Bernie's face. Now that gives him enough time. He's got plenty of confidence. He'll throw a lot of patterns where he has Dennison go down the field, cut back. Excellent coverage by Daum.
Michigan, an upset leader right now over Auburn University, the 3rd-ranked team in the country, once beaten Auburn at the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. The offensive front of Miami is not big. Bertolucci is a freshman at left tackle. Juan Comandiero, Cuban-born, is the left guard. The center from Canada, Ian Sinclair, and he's good. The right guard has been a terrific player all season long, Alvin Ward from Chicago, and the right tackle is Dave Heffernan. 3rd down and 9 for Kosar and the Miami Hurricanes. Fast Eddie Brown, and it's a first down Miami. 12 yards and a first down.
Tell you what, Bernie Kosar is impressive, but that offensive line is more so. They gave him another 6 counts to throw the ball. Eddie Brown was not the intended receiver again. It was a man-to-man defense. Take a look. These 5 guys are setting up. They're getting a little help from a fullback, but nobody's even close to Kosar. When he comes over to Eddie Brown, he makes a fine catch. Burke falls down and he gets a first.
First it is out to the 45-yard line. So Miami hits the big 3rd down throw. Kosar throwing strikes right throughout the first quarter. Nebraska's showing blitz. They do it a lot. They hold back though. Kosar takes a look, swings it out. Albert Bentley head of steam across the 50 and down inside the Nebraska 45-yard line. Again, Mark Daum was on the defensive play for the Huskers, but going to be very close to a first down.
What a well-thrown ball. Good pattern. We look at the defense for Nebraska. They've got to tighten up a little.
They're giving up some yards right now. Big, strong people. Mike Keeler's had a big year for the Huskers, and Bill Weber, a small defensive end, but a good one. There's the key player, Mike Knox. He's broken 5 helmets already this year, and Mark Daum we've seen make a lot of plays. Knox, number 44, actually on his 6th helmet. Equipment manager will attest to his abilities. 2nd down and 1. Long one. Whoa! Right up the gut. Alonzo Highsmith, the freshman from Miami, goes for 18 yards and yet another Miami Hurricane first down. He was one of the Florida Players of the Year last season at Columbus High School in Miami, but he was a defensive player.
And I tell you, the unknown quantity has an awful lot of quality, because these fellas are not in awe of what many people consider the best college football team that's ever been assembled. They had 6 people that made all Big 8. They've got 4 All-Americans on their offense. Right now, Miami's running through their defense.
Miami getting big play after big play. 5:16 to play first quarter. Miami leading 7-0. Kosar against a blitz, throws it, and he's high for Eddie Brown. It'll be 2nd down and 10. One problem Nebraska's had in this great season has been giving up a lot of pass coverage, although there's good players back there. Dave Burke is one of the best, one of the corners. Brett Clark saved the Oklahoma State game with an interception in the end zone. McCashlin's the blitzer, the monster back. And Neil Harris saved the Oklahoma game with 2 plays in the end zone in the closing seconds.
Well, these fellas are sitting back there way ahead in most ball games. Now everybody offensively is going to throw the ball at them. That's why they get a lot of yardage piled up, but not many points.
It's usually all a team has to do but throw the ball because they're so far down early to Nebraska, but not tonight. Miami's leading 7-0. Kosar. Oh. Dennison looking for a penalty call, but there is none. The coverage is ruled good. Strasburger was on him, number 90. 12,000 fans rolled on in from Nebraska. They're about 5,000 short in tickets, though. They needed it. 17,000 wanted to come.
You mentioned that Strasburg was on him. He was also on him for a very long time. Now he's very lucky that he got away without a personal roughness penalty. We see Dennison, the tight end. We saw him catch a touchdown. He's trying to beat the 2 linebackers. They've got all the 5 short zones covered. Kosar can't find him.
And now Kosar has 3rd and 10 against a blitz. They pick it up nicely. He throws, but he's high for Dennison. And again, the Miami fans want a penalty call. Kosar is excellent against the blitz, even though he's a freshman. They work on the blitz every day in practice. Here it is. Knox is coming, 44, and Ward picks him up, runs him off the play. Alvin Ward with a big pass block.
When you see Knox coming, it means they have to find some way, as we mentioned earlier, to get to Kosar. You give a quarterback of his ability that much time to throw, and there's nothing he has to do but pick people up.
And now it is a 45-yard field goal attempt by Jeff Davis. He's hit only 1 of 10 outside the 40, even though he's a long kicker. This one's on the way, and this one is right on time. So Miami doing it all right. Coach Schnellenberger trots the sidelines again, as he always does after a score. 4:51 to play in the first quarter, and Miami has opened up a 10-0 lead. A long way to go, but the biggest upset of the year could be brewing in the Orange Bowl.
What a great start for Miami, up 10-0, and really, Coach, things couldn't have been going better for you, could have it?
No, they certainly couldn't. Our defense was playing extremely well, even though they had moved the ball. Ballinger had been up there to stop a couple of option plays, and they had played really well. And we had taken advantage of the thing that we needed to take advantage of, and that was we were able to block their defensive linemen. And Bernie had a heck of a first quarter.
Well, you know, we came into the game, and you see, and it's a lesson really to a lot of young players and coaches out there. In big games, you see a lot of people today try to be patient, try not to lose the game. Coach had us so geeked up and confident to play that we went into the game wanting to be aggressive. And instead of running the ball early, you see a whole lot of first down throws. And not just gimmicky little check downs or screen plays. These are down the field, stretch them throws. And past 6 Texas right off the bat, 20-yard throw to Stanley Shakespeare really helped, I think, put the Nebraska defense on its heels. And we were really playing offensive offense, and it's a tribute to Coach to, you know, let a freshman quarterback have that type of confidence in him in a game of that magnitude to be able to, you know, be aggressive with the football, especially early.
And did you think it was going to be that easy to throw the ball, or was he just that great of a quarterback?
Well, on first down, it was our best opportunity to throw the ball because they always played down in distance, and they believe we had run on first down a lot. So the throwing on first down was great, and then Jim, Bernie, put us into some somewhat more throws through the audible system that he used so very well.
Well, we know you're referring to Jim Kelly. You've had so many great quarterbacks there.
Yeah, we all run together. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you know, Bernie, you mentioned Stanley Shakespeare, and Stanley obviously passed away a couple summers ago, and I know you were very close.
Yeah, I mean that whole team, especially, you know, offensively, was really a close-knit family, and even today, I mean, we still keep in touch. And me and Eddie Brown were at dinner the other day, kind of talking about Shake, and you know, God bless him and his family. But you know, he was a special person. He was my first pro roommate too. He roomed with me when we went to Cleveland. together that first year. And, you know, he's, besides a great guy, the contribution that he made to our team and to that game that night. I mean, he had got hurt after his second reception. He had hurt his ribs, and I think broke some ribs, and he wanted to come out of the game. And Coach Schnellenberger waved him back out, wouldn't let him go out, wouldn't let him come out. And then he tried to tell me in the huddle, you know, he tried to tell me, oh, man, don't come to me this play, don't come to me. I go, suck it up, bro, you're going to be fine. And he makes that great catch down to the 1-yard line on the very next play.
Right, that sets up the first touchdown.
Right before Glenn Dennison's catch.
Well, you know, the fact that you went to him early in the game set up Eddie Brown and Dennison, because first down plays, getting him involved certainly made them start thinking about doubling coverage, go into that.
Oh, they started rolling the other way. They started playing the cover 2, which let Glenn get up the seam. And you know, later in the game, I think the viewers will see the second touchdown to make it 17-0. Glenn getting up the seam against a double coverage of Shake, because primarily I think because of the way we were going to him early in those first couple series, and that shows you why I think the game has really changed. And you were kind of the father of watching college football change, because the pro-style passing hadn't really come into college yet, and the Big 8 at the time and the Big 10 were still a running conference, and the stretches and the way we threw the ball and mixed up our tendencies and used the whole field, I think really set the tables for the next couple decades of the way offenses play.
And particularly it set it up for Eddie Brown in the second quarter and the second half, where you know, he almost broke that game wide open for us, where he caught that ball and went down the sideline and stumbled without.
Yeah, he slipped a little bit. Yeah, and it's the quarterback's favorite friend, the rack, run after the catch.
Well, there was a lot of big plays, and we're going to watch the rest of the first quarter right after this.
I've had my car insurance with Florida No Fault for years. Why? Because they keep my rates low, real low. Money is tight. Florida No Fault knows exactly what I need when it comes to my monthly budget. I need more money. Florida No Fault, thanks for keeping your rates low.
Join the thousands of people that have saved money on their car insurance. Call Florida No Fault at 1-800-444-4211.
Save a lot of money, Florida No Fault.
One reason to come to Steak and Shake is our service. Let's break that word down. Serve. At Steak and Shake, we come to your table to take your order, cook your order to order, then bring you your order. Ice.
Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers.
Step into the cage for Rays baseball on FSN Florida. Carl Crawford leads the Rays against Derek Jeter and the Yankees. Rays Yankees tomorrow at 12:30 on FSN Florida.
All new rides. I gotta get these runs done for 50's Phantom. All new celebs.
And nobody's better than Unique.
All new season of Unique Whips.
Everybody who's somebody gets their cars done here.
It's the love bus.
It's going to be pretty hot.
There's no room for playing around.
That is outdone.
You're making it hard for people to keep up with the Joneses.
This is the United States of Will Castro.
Any questions?
Unique Whips. A car's just a car until it's unique. Unique Whips. Next week, only on Speed.
Out of everything that we do at Sun Sports, the one show that gets more comments when I am out in public is this one.
One of the things that makes it so great is that we really strategically got down to breaking the state down into 8 different regions and hiring local experts.
And it's a fishing pregame show. If you like pregame shows, if you like shows that tell you what's going to happen before it happens, that's what the Chevy Florida Fishing Report is. It is a pregame show before you hit the water.
It's a 1-hour special presentation of Pride Fighting Championships on FSN, featuring the best knockouts in Pride history. Brace yourself. Sunday on FSN.
The first Orange Bowl 50 years ago was the vision of Miami Recreation Director Ernie Seiler. He had to purchase temporary bleachers for the 5,000 fans who came to see Bucknell defeat the University of Miami 26-0. Now, 50 years later, here we are on the golden anniversary night with the underdog Miami Hurricanes leading top-ranked and unbeaten Nebraska 10-0 with 4:51 to play in the first quarter. Don Criqui with John Brody on a big night in Miami, Florida. The Hurricanes ready to kick it off for a third time in the first quarter. Davis hits a line drive. Here comes Irving Fryer. And he is struck down hard at about the 29-yard line. A 19-yard return by Irving Fryer, and out comes Turner Gill in the Nebraska offense. Interesting, John. Rozier had a 27-yard run his first carry, and there's the numbers. 18, and then they shut him down his last 2 tries. We will hear from him.
We'll hear from him, but they don't seem too concerned.
First and 10, Nebraska. Shalene, the fullback, running hard. Mark Shalene takes it straight ahead from the 20 out to about the 26-yard line. Gain of 6.
Tony Fitzpatrick, number 62, the nose tackle on Trainowitz. Now look at this. It's necessary for him to make penetration in the middle of the line for the linebackers to be able to fill the holes and the whole defense to operate. That time he got blown off.
Rozier breaks open, and Mike Rozier is ahead for a Nebraska first down. Rozier with that 41 pitch goes ahead for 12 yards. They say he's got a great throttle down move. He'll wait for his blocks fast as he is. Once those big linemen commit, Rozier makes his decision and goes. That time a 12-yard gain. Nebraska gets a first down out to its 47-yard line. 4:03 to play first quarter, and the clock runs. Miami 10, Nebraska nothing. Hits back Rozier. Tremendous play. Jack Fernandez, senior linebacker number 51, makes the play behind the line of scrimmage.
It's necessary to string this play out. They keep all their people in good position so that when he does cut back, they've got some people to pick it up. This time he never gets his play started. Jack Fernandez, a reserve linebacker who is playing quite a bit of late, makes a fine play.
Now Turner Gill stops on 2nd 11. He throws a strike, and the ball is caught downfield. Monty Engelbretson, the tight end, takes it inside the 40-yard line, a gain of 15 yards. And Nebraska has a first down. They don't throw to Monty often, as you see. He says, when they do, I appreciate it.
Well, I'll tell you, one day they did throw it to him 3 times when they played Penn State on national television in the opening game. So in the rest 11, he only caught 4 balls. He's primarily a blocker and a fine one, but can catch it.
He's from Hastings, Nebraska, hometown of his coach, Tom Osborne. Now the Huskers starting to move and trailing 10-0. The give is to the first back through, Shalene, the fullback, big at 225 and very fast at 4.5 speed for the 40. He's ahead for 3.
Don, we talked about Tony Fitzpatrick, how important it is for him to get penetration. This time he throws Trainowitz away. When he does so, he gets some contact on the ball carrier before he gets to the line. And look at number 54, Jay Brophy, sitting right there at the line of scrimmage to pick up the runner.
Now it's 2nd down and 8, Nebraska. Swing pass, Rozier. And a tremendous play by freshman Reggie Sutton. Rod Bellinger, number 4, comes up, makes the hit. And that's the 3rd big hit by Bellinger at the line of scrimmage. And it'll bring up 3rd down now. They're going to spot the ball actually at about the 41-yard line.
Well, I've been told that Bellinger was an excellent hitter, but I didn't know he reacted as fast as he has. He's handled Rozier on 2 plays of that type, keeping him from making any yards at all. That's the way to play.
Tough down now for the Huskers. 3rd and 11. Turner Gill on the rollout. He's got the strong arm and he lets her rip. It's intercepted. Jack Fernandez. Kevin Fagan put the rush on number 95, and Jack Fernandez, a 211-pound linebacker, comes down with an interception, and Miami has the ball again.
Don't have to weigh much down to get in the way of balls like he just did. Excellent reaction. Again, it's a 3rd down and 9. How many times have the Hurricanes put the Huskers in this position? When they do, they pretty well rest assured they're going to throw. They've got their linebackers in a deep zone coverage. Fernandez comes down with the intercept.
And As we pointed out earlier, John, Turner Gill throws very few, less than 3% interceptions. Albert Bentley runs the ball, and Albert Bentley takes it to midfield, ripping off a gain of some 16 yards. The crowd is a Miami crowd predominantly, and they've got something to cheer tonight, at least this early.
Well, the important thing is that they knew that Miami had to get off to a fast start, and they did that with defensive outstanding plays. They stopped them. They made them throw the ball on 3rd down and longer than 6 yards to go. That is not what Nebraska likes to do, and when they did get it, they knew what to do with it.
So now yet another first down for Miami, just short of midfield. Bernie Kosar with a deep drop. Andy Brown, he might go the distance. Look at that move, and Andy Brown's heading in. Touchdown Miami, but there's a penalty marker down.
And he also did not get in, I do not believe. I think he was stopped about the 1-yard line. He stepped out of bounds, but I don't know if they saw that.
It's coming back.
But it's coming all the way back.
A part of the way back. Stanley Shakespeare called for an illegal block.
You know, it really doesn't make a lot of difference as to whether it's going to the 1-yard line or the 20 as far as the excellence of the play is concerned. This ball is well thrown. I tell you, Kosar at 6 foot and over 4 inches tall, stands up, gets good vision, but hangs in there, takes his time, has as much poise as any quarterback I've seen in college, and he is only a freshman.
Even with the penalty, it was good for another Miami first down. On the 32, pitch back. Alonzo Highsmith working on it down. He's inside the 20, down to the 19-yard line. A remarkable showing early in this game. The Miami Hurricanes, who waited for this chance, a rebuilding program the last 5 years, and they've played inspirational football since the opening kickoff. They've scored on their 2 earlier possessions. They wanted to kick off, and they did, to show they could stop Nebraska. Huskers drove and had a field goal blocked, then Miami and Kosar took over, driving down and going in for a touchdown and a throw. Kosar to tight end Dennison. Last possession, a 45-yard field goal. And now Miami has it 2nd and short. Kosar's looking. He's got a man open. Chris Hemp.
Well, I've seen a lot of freshmen in my time, but I've never seen one that had as much poise as number 20 has. It looked like it was just another day at the plant. He goes back there, puts the big smile out, and says, well, isn't this sweet? Let's get the ball back, and we'll do it again.
He's hit 2 now to his tight end, Glenn Dennison, in the end zone. Penalty marker's down. Extra point was through, but there's a penalty marker. And it's against the Huskers, so the extra point goes. And the shot now is it with 1:08 left to play. It's a 17-0 Miami game.
Again, you can't say enough about the offensive line because everything is predicated upon how much time do I get to throw the ball. We have to be able to get our patterns run down the field. Dennison gets down the field. There's really nobody back there. It's a 2-deep zone. Until he gets to the end zone, nobody makes contact.
Another look now from ground level as Bernie Kosar looking things over, and there's Dennison, a great sure-handed receiver from Joe Namath's hometown. Dennison's from Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, and he's in for his 2nd touchdown of the game. It is 17-0 Miami.
Well, it's 17-0 now for Miami, and that's the end of the scoring in the first quarter. And Miami was 10-1 coming into this ball game. Let's talk a little bit about the season. You lose to Florida, the opening game up in Gainesville, and then you rip off 10 straight victories coming into this bowl game. You beat Notre Dame, a ranked opponent. You beat West Virginia, and then coming down to the last two games, you play East Carolina, a very tight ball game, and then Florida State. Tell us a little bit about those two games, or the East Carolina game.
Well, East Carolina had a really great year, and one of my future teammates, Ernest Biner, was on that team. They lost to 3 Florida schools by, I think, a combined like 9 points. That was their only losses that year, and that was a really tight game. I just remember being a fourth quarter, and we're down a little bit. We're around midfield, and it's time to make a score to get the lead and put the game away. And the coaches, me, Gary Stevens, Mark Chessman, are deciding which play to run. And Coach, out of nowhere, Coach Schnellenberger comes, it's time for the takeoff. Okay, we're going deep. And he has a philosophy that he's taught all of us that I still carry with me of you need to go deep 4, 5, 6 times every game to stretch defenses. And he says, time to go deep, throw the takeoff to Eddie Brown. Right then, the very next play, because despite what some of my subsequent coaches thought, I am very coachable, and I do listen. I threw a bomb to Eddie down the sideline. He catches the ball, gets out of bounds on like the 1-yard line, and that was the next play score to put us up on top.
So many times you have to come up with one big play in the course of a game, and if you have to have it, there's no better guy to get the ball to than Eddie Brown. He can be covered, and you can lay it up and over, and he can go up and make the play, and that's exactly what he did. Thanks for throwing it.
Thanks for telling me.
Well, and then you play Florida State. Now Florida State, Bowden was there now, established, building his program. They're not the powerhouse that they've been the last maybe 15 years. But tell us a little bit about that matchup, the Florida State-Miami matchup.
Well, first of all, Florida State University at Tallahassee they'll make a difference what their record is.
They were
really good.
They were good. That was a tough place to play.
So we had to go out there and play the very best we could, and they handled us pretty daggone good. It was a low-scoring game. They were ahead by 8 points, I think it was. It was more than a touchdown. I know we needed a touchdown and a field goal, and we were battling. And thank goodness Bernie remembered that they had been safety blitzing us a lot during the course of the game, and it got into that third down situation there right before the fourth quarter started, and you saw that free safety move strong.
Yeah, and I had some tendencies too. I'm a creature of habit, and I'm seeing blitzes, I'm seeing off technique. Most of the year, I was throwing the quick outs, the 10-yard outs. They come up and press, I'm throwing the fades. But typically, although sometimes now coaches think that's dangerous, I think a good throw outside is safer, and I was throwing a lot of outs and a lot of fades. Coach Schnellenberger during the week came up to me and said, this is the week for 62, the max protect and throw a slant inside, come off our techniques. And I hadn't done it in the first half. He reminded me again in halftime, we haven't used it. You're going to hit a big play. He goes, you're going to hit a big play on 62. You're going to hit a slant. And it popped into my head towards the end of the third quarter. I think we were down 9. Because if we scored, we weren't going to go for 2. But it just popped in my head to hit the slant that the coach had been telling me. And Eddie Brown made an incredible, again, rack, as we were joking about, run after the catch. And he caught the slant, and the corners weren't strong enough inside technique. And I think he's expecting the quick out again. And Eddie put a little move on him, like only Eddie could do. And they got us back within striking distance.
And you call that the audible that saved the season?
I did, and Bernie was the reason why Bernie started during the course of this year was because of his intelligence and the way he could handle our audible system. We believe that our quarterback not only has to get us out of a bad play, but it has to put us into a better play on occasion. And not many coaches have that kind of a theory. But when you have a guy like Bernie, and then later on Vinny, they can handle that. And
well, many coaches don't have the confidence to let their guys do it. And one thing that I used to tell to all, again, my subsequent coaches is, Coach Schnellenberger used to say, look, I'm guessing, or the O coordinator complex is guessing what the defense is going to do. I'm guessing what play to call. You're the last guy to see the safeties. You're the last one to see them. So you need to make the play. And It's not whether you should or shouldn't audible. You won't be my quarterback if you don't audible and get us in the right play.
Well, and we'll see Bernie get you in more right plays as the quarter wears on. When we come back, we're going to skip a Nebraska punt and a Kosar interception. What's that all about? Well,
the magic of editing.
But we're going to see what really happens when we come back after this.
Hey, you guys are just like Supercuts, right?
You bet. Have a seat.
Next.
Style only works.
I'm the best.
If it works for you. Supercuts, every time.
Panga fishing boats. No one else lives up to the legend.
Step into the cage for Rays baseball on FSN Florida. Carl Crawford leads the Rays against Derek Jeter and the Yankees. Rays Yankees tomorrow at 12:30 on FSN Florida.
These things we count on every day started as ideas. Ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support minority education today so we don't miss out on the next big idea tomorrow. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
All new rides.
I gotta get these runs done for 50's Phantom.
All new celebs.
And the bio's better than unique.
All new season of unique whips.
Everybody who's somebody gets their cars done here.
It's a love fest.
It's going to be pretty hot.
There's no room for playing around.
That is outdone.
You're making it hard for people to keep up with the Joneses.
This is the United States of Will Castro. Any questions?
Unique whips. A car's just a car until it's unique. Unique whips. Next week, only on Speed.
Whoa! Beautiful gray and a nice red.
Get the red out.
Oh, goodness.
That's the way to catch fish.
Due to time constraints, we'll move ahead to later in the second quarter.
Jeff Smith is in as the I-back now, the deep back. Rozier's out. This is Jeff Smith. Play faking it. Gill takes it himself. Turner Gill gets down to the Miami 39-yard line on a first down carry. He was good for a gain of about 7 yards. Free safety Eddie Williams knocked him down. Turner Gill has a lot of options. The Yankees want to sign him to a baseball contract. He's a top shortstop.
I think you'll go ahead and play professional football if somebody's smart enough to use him as a quarterback. You remember Wally Moon at Washington University about 6 years ago? Well, now he's coming back as Canada's best.
And about $1 million per.
You got it.
Pitch back, running high with the ball is Rozier, and he's ahead for a Nebraska first down to the 35-yard line. The Cornhusker fans rolled on in, many of them early. It was a little rough out in Nebraska, as it has been throughout the Midwest. Rozier's run the ball now 11 times for 80 yards. 2 big gainers in his first 2 carries of the night. Been quiet lately. Scott Kimball comes wide to the left. Tim Brungard again carries the ball. The fullback, the up back, taking it down to the 31-yard line. It's going to be second down about 6.
Don, you hate to overdo one position, but number 62, Tony Fitzpatrick, stands the center up. That allows Jay Brophy, number 54, to find the hole. He hits the running back right at the point of attack. But even with good running, he picks up 4.
You pointed out, John, though, Ken Sisk, Miami's leading tackler, went out with a knee injury. Right now, it's second down and 5. Pitch back. Rozier using his blocks and that great instinctive cutback move. He's down to the 25-yard line. Looks like he might have a Husker first down. Kenny Calhoun, the rover back from Miami, hit him, along with Danny Brown, the right end. Coach Osborne, in good times and bad, never changes his demeanor, a lot like Coach Landry.
No, but it's working inside.
And Howard Schnellenberger and his Miami Hurricanes, an underdog in this 1984 Orange Bowl game. Right now, trying to stave off the Huskers. Miami leading 17-0. Second quarter. Irving Fryer. Got some. Down to about the 20. Gained maybe 4 yards on the play. Reggie Sutton, the freshman corner, knocked him down.
Don, what you have when you don't have a lot of blitzes. This is Jack Fernandez, fellow that came in for Ken Sisk. Brophy was fooled a little bit, but Fernandez is so fast on the ball that he gets out in pursuit. Now remember, when the running back cuts back, and that's Irving Fryer, a certain #1 draft choice, they've got 5 Hurricanes around him.
Fryer's something. He's out in the right flank. He's run the 40-yard sprint in under 4.3 at 200 pounds. Rozier doesn't get much, though. He tries to go behind a great right side. Lombardi and Outland Trophy winner Dean Steinkuhler and Scott Reardon, about 300 pounds of football player, but he only gets a yard.
And you can bet right now they have that old familiar option play. They are 3rd down and 5. I doubt that you'll see them go for a field goal at this time. I think they'll take 2 downs and run it. We've seen them throw the ball in this position 3 times earlier tonight. They were not successful. You'll see some sort of runner.
Big down. 3rd and a long 5. Heading to the end zone and very close to it was Dean Steinkuhler. He's in for a touchdown. I was totally fooled. The best technicians in the world were. Dean Steinkuhler on a trick play goes into the end zone for a Nebraska touchdown. Now we're going to see how it happened, because I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's one of those guards around. Every good team has one, but you never figure to throw it. Watch Turner Gill come out. Dean Steinkuhler, number 71. He hands it to old Dean. The ball, he didn't hold it. He left it right on the ground. The only way you can give it to a lineman is you got to fumble it. He cannot take it and hand it to him. So what he did is he got it from the center and left it on the ground. Everybody pulled. Everybody read their keys perfectly, and Steinkuhler slipped right into the end zone. That's a playground play that you never hardly see, but when you do, it's usually effective. I didn't expect a 275-pound offensive guard. You talk about flexibility. Watch it. Now the ball goes right on the ground. Right on the ground. Steinkuhler picks it up.
He just left it there.
You can't tell me that that's not a planned play, but he has to fumble it. He can't pick it up and leave it there.
They've even got a name for it, John. The Nebraska people say it's the Fumble-Rooski, and it worked. Nebraska's on the board.
Well, we're here again in Boca Raton in the Founders Lounge, watching the game on the big screen, having a good time with it. 17-7, and really Nebraska had run in a trick play, a Fumble-Rooski play to score. To me, that's a testament to how good your defense is.
Well, or how bad they're playing, which would probably be one and the same thing.
Not in that order.
Yeah. But you know, going into that game, we knew they had it. They hadn't used it for 2 years, and that's about how often they have to use it. But they never use it when everything's going well for them. That's not a play that they use to set something else up. That's a play that they use to try to overcome their lack of ability to move the ball. And I had told the football team, if they run that play during the course of the game, you know that they have given up and that they have resorted to not only a trick play, but it's immoral, it's illegal, and it's unsportsmanlike. And it should be, and is now.
Don't be so non-committal. How do you feel about it?
And you know what happened as we were on the sideline, and the Steinkuhler had scooped that thing up and run down the short side of the field. And it was about a 45-yard touchdown. And now instead of being what 17-0, it's 17-7. The kids came running off the field and said, "We got them beat. We got them beat. They ran that Fumble-Rooski play."
Yeah. Well, you had so many great players, and as a redshirt freshman quarterback, obviously I was in that same circumstances a few years later at Miami, but having a great defense really takes the pressure off the quarterback. And talk a little bit about some of your teammates.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, Jay Brophy, Jack Fernandez was filling in for Kenny Sisk and ends up as defensive MVP. You know, we were talking off air about Rodney Bellinger, and at his size, the tackles he was making. Kevin Fagan, you know, controlling the line of scrimmage, goes on to have an awesome NFL career. But, you know, we truly played off each other as a team. I think one of the things throughout the season that was really instrumental was we won a lot of coin flips, which, you know, you defer, and we would defer to the second half a lot of times. And coming out in the second half, the start of the third quarter, really defines the tempo of how the game's going to finish. And we had a streak of times of maybe not always scoring touchdowns, but eating 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes off the clock by running the ball and mixing it. And that really helped our defense, just like our defense really helped us with timely turnovers and not giving up a lot of points.
I was really proud of us as a team that day because it took everybody playing their very best, and it took everybody playing their very best right until the last seconds of the game.
Well, like any game, as you know better than us, you know, you need to play it out, and you know, you never rest easily. I mean, a lot of people joke, well, give Tom Osborne credit for going for 2, you know, trying to win the game and not tie. And I joke with you guys that it didn't matter. I didn't even see the 2-point play because we had plenty of time. We were going to go down and kick a field goal or get a score, whether they got their 2-point play or not.
Yeah, and really, Miami coming to the game a 2-point touchdown or 2-touchdown underdog, really not getting a lot of respect for having the great defense, and maybe that was a testament to how good they thought Nebraska was. But you know, when you play a big game, everybody's got to elevate their game, and I think that was certainly the fact in this ball game. Defensively, everybody played a little bit better. You mentioned Jack Fernandez coming in off the bench, but there was a lot of great plays on the defensive side of the ball. Great aggressive defensive style that you had in that game plan, and it was a perfect execution.
You know, I had a feeling of premonition and finally a validation that it was really preordained that we should win this game. For us to have lost that opening ball game and then to have run the table to get to the bowl game, to have all those things happen during the day before us playing that game that night, I had a feeling that God had so ordained that this football team was going to win this game because it was so important. And everybody in the nation, at the end of the day, everybody in the nation had bought into this David-Goliath thing, and that we could and were going to win that game. And the kids certainly picked that up.
And you don't hear that often, God on the University of Miami side. But we're gonna break on that one, and we'll come back with the rest of the second quarter.
If you want to make your hard-earned dollar go a whole lot farther, get ready. Advance Auto Parts has the low prices guaranteed to save you money. Get ready to get the best price possible on all the parts and accessories you need with our ready-to-go low price guarantee. Nobody can beat our prices on just about anything for your car. So when you want to get more for your money while getting more out of your car, get to Advance Auto Parts for our everyday ready-to-go low price guarantee.
Ready in advance.
Good morning, honey. Not today. You are not going fishing today!
Ugly Stick, America's strongest, most sensitive rod.
Fishermen, tired of spending money on ice? Order your very own American-made ice machine from AAA Refrigeration. Get from 60 to 2,400 pounds of ice per day. Scotsman ice machines start as low as $1,250. That includes free shipping. Look at this gigantic warehouse loaded with ice machines. Go to AAAicemachines.com, AAAicemachines.com. Call now, 800-779-4604. Satisfaction guaranteed by AAA Refrigeration, Gainesville.
I was stunned when I saw the scale and it said 313 pounds. And that's when I got on Nutrisystem.
Get real results with Nutrisystem for men.
I'm Mike Golick and I lost 51 pounds on Nutrisystem. And you can too.
Call or go online now to get your first 4 weeks of awesome food. And through this special offer, you can get an extra 2 weeks of meals free.
Eat like a man and lose weight.
Our secret is the breakthrough science of the glycemic advantage that separates good carbs from bad. Now, carbs are no longer off limits.
If a big old defensive lineman like me can lose weight, so can you.
About $11 a day gets you 4 full weeks of perfectly portioned meals.
Pick up the phone and lose some weight.
Order our 4-week men's program now, and you can get an extra 14 breakfasts, lunches, snacks, dinners, and desserts, a full 2 weeks of food free. Call now to find out how.
All right, if there's any doubt in anybody's mind about whether it's intentional or not, Turner Gill wasn't going to turn around and run away from a fumble that wasn't intentional, okay? Steinkuhler picked it up on the dead run and ran it in. Last time it was done was 1980. Who did it?
The Huskers did it against Oklahoma. Chuck Poole, our man from Nebraska, is coming in the booth to tell us it is the fumble-rooski we've seen, old brogue. You said every team has one, right?
But they don't have one of those.
No, not. Here's a guy almost 280 that runs the 40 in under 4.7. Haas from Bern, Nebraska. 120 people in Bern. That's a 120-man fan club again, Bern, ladies. Dean Steinkuhler. 17-7. And now Nebraska kicks it off, and here comes Keith Griffin, and the Huskers, fired up by the fumble-rooski, come down and cover the kickoff at the 15-yard line. Only a 9-yard return.
All right, this is a very critical drive for the Canes because Kosar last time had one intercepted. They mentioned coming into this ball game we're going to fire it around the infield. Last time it stuck in the red jerseys. I doubt that you're going to see them try to run and control it, but it might be a good idea if they got the crowd settled down and themselves a little. Throw the safe stuff.
Bernie Kosar setting his team down, 1st and 10 at the 16-yard line of Miami. High back is Keith Griffin. Markers down all over as big Mike Keeler came blusting through and got a hold of Kosar.
And you know what happened? It's a too much timer, I believe. Maybe it's not, but I think it's too much time. And if it is, what happened is Nebraska shifted their defense late. Kosar has been effective in changing the play at the line of scrimmage to the proper call. That time they shifted late, fooled him, and he let the time run out. They have a 6-7 month season every year.
Yeah, they go to bowl games every year, year after year, decades in a row. They've gone to bowl games. But this is the big one in '84, the national championship on the line in Miami. Leading 17-7 now as a 1st and 15. Albert Bentley breaks loose, but a penalty marker comes in at the line of scrimmage. Mark Daum knocked him down for Nebraska, number 51. 8:41 to play in the first half.
Looks like they're going back again.
Run called back. Fumble-rooski might have done some long-range damage. Miami's taking the momentum away.
What it does, it starts with an interception generally or something. They had so many good things going for them. That was a great interception, by the way. It wasn't just another one. It can turn the tide. At least old Mo do change.
Oh, he does change, and the holding call sets the ball back just outside the Miami 5-yard line. Miami misfiring now. Last 3 plays, penalty, and the one before that, you'll remember, was the Kosar interception.
They're coming up late.
Blitz. Kosar throws. It's a live ball, and the nearest man to it was McCasland, who you'll remember intercepted earlier.
He threw it away, but they fooled him again, Don. That's the critical thing, and that's what the concern of the offensive coaches was, that Nebraska has real good personnel, but they're also very cagey. They camouflage what they're going to do, and once you beat them for a while at one thing, they're not going to allow it to happen for the rest of the game. They've changed a lot of their philosophy right now. They're waiting until Kosar gets set, then they're changing into what they're going to do, and it's bothered them.
So now Miami pinned back, 2nd down and 20. A strike to Dennison and a 1st down for the Hurricanes. Great
first.
3 receptions now for Dennison, the first 2 for touchdowns.
That was just as important.
Yes, sir. Got Miami out of the hole. 1st and 10 Hurricanes. Albert Bentley. A tackle-breaking runner. Albert Bentley's ahead. 16 yards and yet another Miami first down. Mike Knox tried to stay with him, the big Nebraska linebacker, but could not.
Well, it's kind of hard to stay with a man number 16 when he sees Kosar looking to break free. He throws it off to Bentley. It's a loop-off pass. It looks like he's been taking lessons from Plunkett. That's called a bad ball drill. He's 6'5". Whenever they get a hold of you, just throw it any way you like.
And Albert Bentley was there to receive it, and it's another Miami first down. So they're out of the hole and out to their 41. Whistle blew, the play dead, but the Huskers were coming, didn't hear it. It's hard to hear anything here in the Orange Bowl. A cauldron of sound. 75,000 here, and they've been rocking since the outset of this game. The call will be against the Miami Hurricanes. Turner Gill waiting for his chance again.
And he'll get one. He'll get several more. But the last drive was the first time they really did much once they did get the ball.
And there's Joe Willie on the Miami bench.
And talking to Joe about Bernie Kosar, he mentioned simply, he said, this fella can throw. You notice he knows where his bread's buttered. He's in there with the defensive players. He's telling Tony Fitzpatrick how to play defense. He's learned a lot since he's been out of football.
And Joe Willie talks football. The Hurricanes listen. And right now it is a 1st and 15 play for Miami. Hurricanes a surprise leader 17-7 in the 2nd quarter. Kosar looking long, home run ball. Eddie Brown trying to run under it. Old Bernie's got the long distance delivery.
Well, I'll tell you, the important thing there is that he came back and he said, hey, they talked early, we're going to use the whole field. He's got a very strong arm, and the whole field means down the field as well as in the zones. And he has spread everyone out, which gives him an opportunity to hit Dennison in the middle on the 3rd down situations. When you spread that defense out, they've got 53 yards of width to work with. He's got a real strong arm, and you can be effective.
2nd and 15. He could be pumping it again.
Come on, Keith, let's go.
Nebraska again shows blitz, bringing the monster back up tight into a gap. Bernie's waiting for him to come early.
He's waiting quite a while.
Fellows have to get on the same page here with 6:58 to play in the first half.
I think you can look for them to now get up, call the play on the first sound. Okay, they'll have a pre-planned play, but don't wait. Don't let them shift. They're getting the best of us when we do that. Not too bad for a team that's down by 10.
He's had 100 yards or more in his last 11 games. As Mike Rozier, the Heisman Trophy winner. Right now, the Nebraska offense waiting for a crack at it again, trailing 17-7 to Miami. Coming in as almost a 2-touchdown underdog. Kosar ready to let her rip. 2nd down and 20. Boy, they pick up the blitz well. He throws, it's low for Albert Bentley, and the Nebraska defense comes up with a big play. Mark Daum's been all over the field, 51.
Well, Mark Daum has a man-to-man assignment on Bentley and once in a while on Griffin, whoever's to the strong side, working in combination with Dennison. And he's been on him for as long as you can expect a linebacker to cover a back, 4 and 5 seconds.
Daum has quite a remarkable story. Earlier this season, he had arthroscopic back surgery, and he also had surgery on his knee all this season. Here he is playing a big game for the Huskers. 3rd down and 20 for Kosar and the Miami Hurricanes. Fast Eddie Brown goes up and doesn't come down with a great defensive play by Brett Clark.
Boy, you know, that's also a nice play by Eddie Brown, Don, because he went in that middle blind. He knew that that ball was going to be a collision. Brett Clark, who's playing free safety back there. Let's take a look at it on the wide. Now they're trying to get back to Kosar by rushing 5 people. They were ineffective with 3, and they didn't get there with 5. Kosar throws it down the field. Clark's playing the ball all the way. That is a collision. Number 40, Eddie Brown, and number 10, Brett Clark.
Great second look, as right now Miami has to punt the ball, and Rick Tootin kicks it downfield and kicks it far. Here comes Irving Fryer. And Irving Fryer gets it out to the 36-yard line. 41-yard punt and an 8-yard return. And Mike Rozier, the 1983 Heisman Trophy winner. Turner Gill, always cool under the fire, and he throws to Rozier. Mike Rozier showing his stuff. Downfield for 13 yards, and the Huskers are starting to cook.
Okay, when it gets wrong defensively, the linebackers can't get in the proper pursuit. You find Rozier in a one-on-one situation with Turner Gill. You've got to stop, make him pitch the ball quick. Now he gets on the cornerback fast, turns it inside. They finally get him, but not before he gets about 10.
And he's over 100 now, John. He has 103 yards for the night on 14 carries. Straight ahead, running the ball. Across the 50-yard line, Nebraska moves into the Miami end of the field on Mike Rozier's run.
Take a look at it. This is what a running back in the I formation sees. Now, he's got a lot of his own people crossing in front of him, trying to get trap blocks. He cuts off a trap block that wasn't very effective. Fernandez stopped the play for all intents and purposes. Number 51 held him to 3.5.
Special NBC remote camera affixed to the upright in the end zone goalpost. First time ever. It'll give you some interesting looks as the game wears on. And right now, Mike Rozier takes a look at a Miami defense that stuffs him on a 2nd and 6 play for no gain. Tony Fitzpatrick knocked him down. There's the camera. I don't know what happens to that expensive camera if one of those field goal or extra points hits it.
It counts if we hit it, I think.
Yeah, but the camera might be out.
Well, that's all right. The point's good.
That's the camera showing you can go up and down and all around. From all interesting angles right over the field of play. 3rd down and 6, Nebraska. Great throw by Turner Gill to Irving Fryer. And Fryer gets the ball down to the 25-yard line. One coach said when Irving Fryer lines up, it's like pointing a loaded gun at a defense. He can do it all. Gets it, run it. That's for 25 yards.
Yeah, I tell you, you can especially do it all when they don't have anybody in the zone to cover him. He's standing back there running a delay pattern. Now, there's one man you don't want loose in your secondary. That's number 27. There isn't anybody within 5 yards or 10 yards when he catches the ball. Gill had enough time to wait for him. They pick up a big first down and keep their drive alive.
Real big first down. 3rd down play, and it's now first down Huskers. They trail 17-7. Turner Gill stands in, throws to the end zone. Todd Frame dives at the ball but can't get there. Backup tight end from Trainer, Iowa, who's caught some touchdown balls. Very fast for a tight end.
Well, Todd Frame made a commitment a little early. It's a very tough ball to catch. A ball is coming right over your head. But when he turned around, he turned all the way around rather than continue running. If you see him here, he's already committed. He would have run right under the ball on the dead run, but he committed too quick.
4:29 to play in the first half. 4:29 to play. Nebraska trailing 17-7. Pitch back, Rozier. He's a dancer until he's one-on-one. Then Mike Rozier is a knockout puncher. He hits you, you don't hit him.
Well, it's wonderful when a back can get his shoulders straightened up. He's in one-on-one situation. Take a look at the whole defense. They're a very pursuing defense, but they are cut off from the point of attack. Excellent block by the tight end. When the tight end gets that kind of a block, it keeps 2 people from getting into the pursuit. The running back can cut up and get some yards.
Coach Schnellenberger, he's known the highs and the lows of coaching. Coached the Baltimore Colts. The owner came in the locker room one day and fired him.
Yeah, but to his credit, he was smart enough to walk away. I'll tell you what, he came back. He went back with the Dolphins and Don Shula, recouped, went back with the offense, got this job, and has really put something to work.
He's big in Miami. Pitch back. Here comes Rozier, heading down inside the 10-yard line. And listen to those Husker fans let it rip. They're down in that corner end zone. Didn't put those Huskers on the 50-yard line, but they're down there making
They did give him a few seats. They gave him some seats down there where the Huskers are right now, about the 10-yard line. They've got Rozier coming right at you. I'd hate to be a defensive back, knowing I had to handle him all by myself.
Again, they go to Rozier, and this time a gambling play is close to a touchdown.
They run that so much. That's their bread and butter. They don't feel that it is a high-risk play. When you have athletes like Turner Gill and Mike Rozier, the coordination is so excellent. They feel, hey, if somebody doesn't stop it, we'll just run it in every play.
That's a confident QB that pitches out on his way down, and it almost resulted in a touchdown. Rod Bellinger saved it.
Also a good one.
A real good one. Now Coach Osborne's team ready to get right back in it. They're down 17-7. Second and goal. Penalty markers down. You see the yellow flag down at the line. 3:03 to play in the first half. At the end of the first quarter, it was Miami 17, favored Nebraska nothing. But now the Huskers are rolling, pounding back with that big front line into the game.
Well, you know, that's not really a very important penalty, but when you're sitting down on all fours in a defensive situation, number 62, Tony Fitzpatrick, they may have ruled that he jumped just a little too quick. He's trying to get off on the ball, trying to create some sort of a big play. I think the chance, it's worth the risk.
Big number from the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, where Michigan leads third-rated Auburn 7-0. That game now in the third quarter. And that is the scoreboard numbers here at the Orange Bowl on the golden anniversary night.
29 TDs for a season for Rozier. I get the feeling he may get one more right here.
He's the I-back, the deep back. Free ball. That looked like Gill held it himself.
He did.
That was a second and goal from just over a yard out.
Okay, good shot at it. We see that the defense beat the offense on their own snap count. It's the only way you can keep a quarterback from getting in.
All season long, Miami's been so tough against the run, they've allowed less than 3 yards of rush to the opposition, and have allowed only 9.6 points a game to the opposition. Over the top, Turner Gill is in for a Cornhusker touchdown. And the Big Red from Lincoln now trails 17-13.
Well, they've done one fine job since that interception of getting back in this ball game. Not trying to do it all at once, Don, but methodically going back to what brought them here. Turner Gill, Mike Rozier, a steady defense. Remember, 84 touchdowns throughout a season of play. They've got a lot of time and a lot of weapons, and they're back in it with more than a half to play.
Starting to show that array of weapons as now the extra point by Livingston is up and good, and with 2:17 left to play in the first half, the Cornhuskers down 17-0 at the end of the first quarter are right back in it, trailing 17-14 as Turner Gill takes it in for the second Nebraska touchdown. The first, you'll recall, was a surprise score by guard Dean Steinkühler.
Well, it's now 17-14, and that's all the scoring you'll see in the first half. And going to the locker room at halftime, Coach, what are you thinking and what are you telling the team?
Well, I was pretty pleased with what had happened in the first half. I thought we had dominated the game, that they had come back, but that we had done what we needed to do and that we were ahead. So we would come back out and continue doing what we did the first half, maybe run it a little more.
Yeah. And Bernie, what do you think?
Well, we had started seeing a lot of blitzing and coverage, and because of Stanley Shakespeare made those catches early, they started showing some attention to the receivers and double covering them. I thought an interesting kind of aggressive move the coach made was, you know, we had Speedy Neal, we had Albert Bentley, we had Keith Griffin, we had some top quality runners, and he during that 7-week period of preparation for the Orange Bowl, he injected Alonzo Highsmith into the rotation, a true freshman who was a defensive end at Columbus, now makes the switch over to fullback. He put him in to run the ball, and here you have a redshirt quarterback, redshirt freshman quarterback, audibling 2 running plays to a true freshman because they were starting to double coverage our outside receivers and doing some weak side reductions and a little unsound in their fronts. And we were actually coached Two, despite what some of my subsequent coaches said, that I actually always audibled to pass plays. I was audibling from passes to runs because they would have our guys doubled and they were a little unsound in their fronts, and we were able to hit some holes, and Alonzo had some big runs coming in the third quarter.
I made that comment when we were watching the game, just how good your pass protection was early. That really allowed you to take 7-step drops, throw the ball downfield, and so they did have to start blitzing, but you were still picking up the blitz with your running backs.
Coach had mentioned to us in the weeks leading up to the game that they were a defensive line that reacted. So they would read, react, instead of just, as you see today in the game, just pass rushing. So they were a little slow in their pass rushing. And again, I think that stems from being in a run conference, not really seeing much forward pass. They weren't geared to be a good pass rushing team.
And you know, that brings up the fact what Albert Bentley did blocking those safeties and linebackers.
Albert Bentley was
we made a teaching reel out of him blocking linebackers. He uncoiled, and the first thing that would hit would be the back of their head on the ground.
Yeah, and Albert's size, and for him to play 10 years in the pros, and we were together at an event a couple weeks ago to see him. He still looks like a Greek god, but for him at 205 pounds to be able to drill those linebackers and safeties like that was impressive, and that led to giving you just that extra second, to hit Glenn up the seam or to hit Eddie on some of those square ends or out routes.
Well, when we come back, we'll watch the rest of the second half of this Gridiron Great.
In the next 30 seconds, you're going to hear everything you need to know to save money on your car insurance. Ready? It's Cash Register. No matter what you drive, Cash Register has got you covered. Low down payments, easy flexible payment options. Offices all over Florida. We only do business here with more than 100,000 Florida drivers like you. So who do you need to call? Cash Register. Remember, in Florida, nobody has you covered like Cash Register.
Kids, sign up today for one of the many Orlando Magic summer basketball camps. Learn from the pros, play games, and even meet select Magic players and coaches. The Magic have several different camps available for kids ages 6 to 17 at different locations around Central Florida. Visit OrlandoMagic.com or call 407-916-2681 for more information on these great summer camp opportunities.
It's a 1-hour special presentation of Pride Fighting Championships on FSN, featuring the best knockouts in Pride history. Brace yourself. Sunday on FSN.
Out of everything that we do at Sun Sports, the one show that gets more comments when I am out in public is this one.
One of the things that makes it so great is that we really strategically got down to breaking the state down into 8 different regions and hiring local experts.
And it's a fishing pregame show. If you like pregame shows, if you like shows that tell you what's going to happen before it happens, that's what the Chevy Florida Fishing Report is. It is a pregame show before you hit the water.
These things we count on every day started as ideas. Ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support minority education today so we don't miss out on the next big idea tomorrow. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Step into the cage for Rays baseball on FSN Florida. Carl Crawford leads the Rays against Derek Jeter and the Yankees. Rays Yankees tomorrow at 12:30 on FSN Florida.
There's been an interesting strategy change. 2 Nebraska players are wearing the wrong jersey intentionally. That's really Dave Burke. Number 2, McCashland, is on his jersey, but he's normally 33 Dave Burke. And Mike McCashland's wearing number 33.
Well, let me tell you why they did it.
I'd like to hear it.
All right, because one of the keys for Miami when they started the ball game was to key number 2. Dave McCashland is the type that gets up on the line of scrimmage. He's the fellow that moves around. He blitzes from his safety position. When he does so, it was a key for the type of pattern that Kosar wanted to throw. Well, early, he didn't seem to have any problem. Whatever he was watching worked. You notice it took him a little time, but he made some fine plays out of plays that looked covered. covered. Then later in the second quarter, the jerseys have stayed the same. The funny thing is, I think Kosar might have picked it up because Burke has a mustache and McCashlin doesn't. Now, they haven't gone so far as to change their appearance, so I'm going to imagine that Bernie Kosar picked it up.
Before the game, Fryer and Rozier changed their jerseys, but they switched back. Here's the kickoff to Miami. Reggie Sutton. With a penalty marker down, Reggie breaks her loose. It's a foot race, but it'll all come back. As two markers are down inside the Miami 20-yard line, a 32-yard return, but there may have been an illegal block on the part of the Hurricanes. Bernie Kosar with his quarterback coach Mark Trestman. 178 yards throwing in the first half.
And that stat is a little bit misleading because those throws were for a lot of yardage, 178 yards in length. And that's a good stat. That's a good half by any standards.
We noticed this half that Miami didn't like to kick off. Nebraska had the ball enough, they felt, in the second quarter. Miami's plan was to give it to Nebraska at the outset, though, and they did. Stop the Huskers their first drive. Actually a blocked field goal, and then Miami went right down and scored. Coach Schnellenberger wants an explanation. Coaches always do, and they always lose.
Well, I tell you, they don't always lose because they do get the attention of those officials, and somehow I think people who do kind of raise their voice on occasion when the ball goes against you get the best of it.
Hurricanes start off in the hole to start the third quarter. Kosar gives off to Keith Griffin. He fumbled the ball, and it is Nebraska's ball. A great run by Keith Griffin. But Dave Burke, even though he's wearing McCashlin's jersey, is the man who came up with a free ball. I wonder if the NCAA would look into that. I mean,
well, there's nothing in the rule book. We looked into it at halftime, Don, and we can't find anything that would preclude someone from doing this. We've been calling Burke McCashlin the whole first half and vice versa. So you people at home, I hope you understand. Anyway, that was Burke who made the play. And here is Keith Griffin, who is an excellent one, but the Cornhuskers have the ball, and that's Rozier.
Boy, he takes a pop from Reggie Sutton. The Huskers go to the run, capitalizing on an early turnover here in the third quarter. Nebraska with a chance to take the lead if they can take it in. There is Dave Burke in the jersey of friend Mike McCashlin.
They changed helmet numbers, too. I'm sure they didn't change helmets.
Maybe they changed identities. He's going to go the rest of his life being Mike McCashlin. Second down and 10.
Reverse. Nope.
Fake to Irving Fryer, a big play. Look at the break up there down at the 11-yard line. We had two guys go to the moon for the ball. Rod Bellinger's only 5'9". Kimball's 6 feet. But they were both way over the rim.
When you take a look at the people who have made the outstanding plays for the Hurricanes, in the first half it was Rodney Bellinger. He made 4 big plays. He starts off the second half doing the same thing. Being one-on-one with Irving Fryer's no picnic. But he can handle it. Here you go. Got a piece of his arm and kept him from coming down with it.
Third down now. Nebraska needing a big play after getting the turnover. Swing pass, it goes out to Shalene. Open field tackle, but the cut down is made short of a first down, so it brings up fourth down. And Nebraska, well, we'll see if they send out their field goal unit.
I think they're going to. You know, a lot of times you go for it on fourth, but there's 4 yards to go, and they have not been effective when Miami has given up to stop the run. And, well, they're going to have a go at a field goal and a tie.
It's a whole lot better than being behind 17-0, like Nebraska was at the end of the first quarter.
The last one didn't get airborne.
That's right. I mean, that's the reason they only tried 4 coming into this game all season. This one did. Right on range, and up and through it goes, and all of a sudden Nebraska comes out quickly, capitalizes on a fumble by Miami, and a field goal by Livingston ties the game at 17. So the Huskers will kick it off again in a moment when we return to the Orange Bowl. And even though the third quarter's only less than 2 minutes old, Livingston's ready to kick off for a second time. A high spinning kick. Albert Bentley running it back. Albert is a tough hombre, and he comes across the 20 to the 24-yard line. Miami, Florida, on the golden anniversary night of the Orange Bowl. Right now, the home team, Miami, which really had this place rocking with its first quarter onslaught, is in a tie game, and Miami goes to the run on first down out to the 28-yard line. Reggie Sutton was shaken up a bit earlier. He's a gamer, though. He'll be back.
Well, they need him badly, and we mentioned that there is a possibility that defense could get a little tired. They can't afford an injury to a man as key as Sutton. We see Howard and Mark Trestman, the offensive receiver coach, down there discussing how they're going to get something on the board.
Second down and 8. Kosar will be firing.
He's got him.
Got a man open. Eddie Brown. What a great catch out to the 47-yard line. Kosar throwing strikes again now. The 20-yard pitch, and Eddie Brown, who you'll remember lost one late in the first half right there. This time make sure.
Well, those are such difficult catches because you're making it in between two defenders. And take a look at it. Here comes Kosar. He throws, gets a little nudge. But when you're Eddie Brown, he knows he's going to get hit as soon as he catches the ball. We see Doug Burke hit him before he can get his feet on the ground. That's a tough way to hit.
Reggie Sutton with a bruised shoulder. Defensive player for Miami right now. Hurricane offense. First and 10 at their 47. Albert Bentley on a draw. Albert Bentley hit once and twice and 3 times, and he keeps on going ahead for an 8-yard gain.
This is the kind of play that they need more of. This rests the defense. It keeps their drive alive. And you take a kid like Bentley and also Griffin. These guys are hard running backs. Now you can see they expect the Canes to throw. They're getting a 6-man pass rush. Mike Knox gets shielded off the play. Bentley's not going down until he picks up 8.
Second down and 2 comes up for Miami. And the Hurricanes pick up the blitz. Kosar lofts it out there and has his man Albert Bentley. Bentley's one of the spiritual leaders of this team. They love him. He was a walk-on, rode his bike to practice one day and asked for a tryout from Coach Schnellenberger. Couldn't catch the ball at all his first 2 years. Now he's an excellent pass catcher. He's made himself one. Don Criqui with John Brody. Orange Bowl, 84, Miami, and Nebraska tied 17-17 early in the third quarter. Miami driving. They've not scored since the first quarter. Back to the run. They rip it open. Alonzo Highsmith, the 230-pound freshman from Miami, rips ahead for yet another Hurricane first down.
Take a look at Highsmith and what he sees. Once you get that ball and get those linemen spread out a little bit, real good blocking from Bentley. His fullback allows him to get through the point of attack. When he does so, he picks up the first.
14-yard gain as Turner Gill waits passively on the bench.
This is what they need to do, Don. Miami has to keep the ball in their possession for some period of time to let their defense rest.
Right now, the Hurricanes moving it through the Nebraska defense as they did in the first quarter. First and 10 to the run. The running, look at this man bumped with the football. Alonzo Highsmith, the defensive player of the year in Florida last year, is a defensive player here at Columbus High School in Miami. Same high school that Don Shula's son quarterback last year, and they almost won the state championship, or 2 years ago. And right now, John, the big guy on the sideline, says, keep it coming, and he sends a play in, and it looks like Kosar's looking to the end zone. Out flat pass he goes to Alonzo Highsmith, who's going to keep going to number 30 as long as it keeps working.
He did not throw to his backs much in the first half. He threw down the field 3 times to Shakespeare, a couple times to Eddie Brown, but his backs are renowned for their ability to catch passes coming out of the backfield. They're man-to-man on the linebackers. Kosar hits him right on the break. Nice to have backs that can both run the football and catch it, and he's got 3 in Highsmith, Griffin, and Bentley.
You're in the backfield with NBC's remote goalpost camera looking on as Kosar now has been leading the Miami Hurricanes on a third quarter drive. You see his passing numbers. The all-time record for passes in an Orange Bowl was set by Namath in that 65 game. He threw 37 times. Kosar's probably going to go over 40 tonight. 9:55 to play, third quarter. Tie game. First down. End zone, man's open, and Shakespeare has the ball tipped away by Dave Burke.
And a flag is thrown, Don. That is in the critical area. Generally, it's offensive pass holding, but we'll wait and see.
Hurricanes down close. They started first and goal from the 9-yard line of Nebraska. And this new set of downs after the throw to Highsmith.
That was strict. That was just simply a motion penalty, and they refused it. I'm sure they would have taken a 10-yarder.
Fast Eddie Brown, number 40 at the top of your screen on the left flank. Shakespeare off to the right. Tight end Dennison. He's always a man they like to go to down close. Here's a throw. Penalty marker in the end zone against Nebraska. Coach Osborne says no, but the official says yes. It'll be first and goal down at the 1. Dave Burke called for the foul.
Well, at least we think it's Dave Burke. We haven't been able to see the look on his face. It's either he or McCashlin. We mentioned before they had switched jerseys. He tries to make the only play he can. He's got no help from inside by a linebacker. A close call. I couldn't tell from that view whether or not he actually made contact before the ball hit. A very, very close call.
First and goal from the 1 after a pass interference call. Over the top. Alonzo Highsmith. This guy can play football.
I don't think there was much doubt of it. However, when a man's a freshman, you don't usually give him a chance to prove it. Now, Miami's in a situation where they have so many outstanding freshmen, and Schnellenberger's done such a fine job of recruiting that he's using a few of them today. That one just got the job done.
We're going to watch that again in a moment. On that mounted remote camera. Right now, we're looking from the remote camera at the far end of the field. And here is Jeff Davis ready to try the point after which he hits up and gets that carom shot. It's all right if it counts, and it does, so it's all working right. But they talk about the two things you can't coach, speed and luck.
And take a look from the back. You can see there's no one to meet him when he goes up, so he goes over.
Alonzo Highsmith into the air and into the end zone, and Miami has a 24-17 lead.
Well, it's now 24-17. Miami regaining control with the touchdown of Alonzo Highsmith. And funny they mentioned about the jersey switch, and did that affect you?
Well, I thought it was kind of humorous. Again, seeing coaches answer on the fumble-rooski and what you need to do. Teams like that, you know, need to switch jerseys to that type of deception. I really didn't think it's. I don't really think it's in line with the way you should do it. But it didn't affect us. We were way better coached than to think something that juvenile would actually have an effect on us. And I found it kind of humorous.
So it's interesting. Nebraska actually respected you more than maybe the national media. But talking about Alonzo Highsmith, true freshman out of Miami. How did you get so many Miami players or South Florida players to come to the program?
Well, initially what we did was and it was actually in the class right before Melvin and Highsmith, we asked all through the good football players from the South Florida, the state of Miami, if we would come together as a group and stay together and come to the University of Miami, that we'd be able to play anybody, anywhere, any place, any time, and be successful. And they bought into that, and Melvin and Alonzo really made that special because they called the other kids that we were recruiting and said, let's all stay together. And of course we went up north to get Bernie and a couple of others, but basically South Florida kids, and it really, really made a difference.
I mean, that last recruiting class of yours, with Alonzo and Melvin and the Blades brothers and Michael Irvin and Brett Pearman and the D linemen. I mean, there was probably 8, 9, 10 Pro Bowlers just in that one recruiting class of, you know, whatever, 25 guys or whatever that was.
Talking about Melvin Bratton, who was my running back as I played in the late 80s there. But how did they get you down to Miami?
Well, you know what, I was, ironically, my first time in an airplane coming from Youngstown, Ohio, was to see Charlie Pell and Mike Shanahan. Gainesville was recruiting me, and that was the first time I went down there, and it was at Coach Shanahan's house. But back in the early 80s, the Big 10, Big 8, now Big 12, they were still a big, it wasn't Wishbone, it was still a running conference. And the throwing was being done in the West and down in the Southeast. So, you know, I was a tall, slow, skinny kid, you know, so I wasn't going to make it in a running offense. So those, the more passing areas were the places recruiting me. So it was Gainesville and here into Miami.
Gee, I didn't know that we beat the Gators on you. I thought we beat Cincinnati and Pittsburgh.
Well, Cincinnati and Don Nealon. Remember, Mike Godfrey was the coach at Cincy at the time, and I'm still kind of a mama's boy, and you know, wanting to stay home type stuff. And I asked Coach Godfrey, I go, you know, you have a reputation for moving a lot. You know, are you going to be here for 5 years? He goes, probably not. You know, and you hear, and I love him to this day, because you hear a lot of bad stories about coaches and what they tell players, and I just love his, you know, his truthfulness and stuff. But at the end of the day, what it really came down to is what Coach was talking about earlier, about we could play anybody, anywhere, anytime. I didn't want to be an old man like this in my 40s and look back and say, debate to myself and say, could I have played the best? Could I have been the best? I didn't want to look back, you know, after my football days and debate and wonder whether I could have done it. I wanted to try my best. I knew I wasn't the top quarterback going to UM. I knew I was going to have to compete. I knew the chances of, you know, me doing what happened weren't that great, but I wanted to at least challenge myself and know that I didn't, you know, back down from a challenge. And, you know, after my first couple days of practice and I saw Vinny, you know, I had a $185 crash my chest in the bench press test. And then Vinny's chucking up 325 like it's nothing. And then we go out and throw, and I'm doing my thing, you know, and Vinny's looking perfect. So I go to Coach, you know, I go, bro, I think I'm going to have to leave. You know, I don't have a chance here. And he told me something interesting. He says, you know, the guys who quit and leave and go home to mommy and quit now, they'll be quitters their whole life. You know, you need to, I'm going to give you a chance, you know, and mentally you're the one position where mentally is sometimes more important than physically. And I'm going to give you a chance in spring to earn that starting position.
Yeah. Well, iron sharpens iron, so bringing in great players is going to help everybody improve. And let's get back to this game, though. We're going to skip a Nebraska punt, and we come back, it's going to be Miami ball.
Hey, basketball fans, are you ready to go one-on-one with Dwayne Wade? Sign up today for the Tops Basketball Camp with Dwayne Wade, presented by Miccosukee Resort and Gaming.
What's up? This is Dwayne Wade of Miami Heat. I'm inviting you to join me at the Tops Camp for basketball skills and fun.
The camp will be held August 6th through the 8th at Nova Southeastern University. For more information, visit tops.com. Registration is limited, so don't be left out. Premier partners include Sun Sports, WIOD 610 News Radio, Doctors Hospital, and the Wade's World Foundation.
The new Dell Inspiron 1420, powered by Intel Centrino Duo processor technology. Dell, yours is here.
It's a 1 hour special presentation of Pride Fighting Championships on FSN, featuring the best knockouts in Pride history. Brace yourself. Sunday on FSN.
All new rides.
I gotta get these runs done for 50's Phantom.
All new celebs.
And the bio's better than unique.
All new season of unique whips.
Everybody who's somebody gets their cars done here.
It's gonna love fast.
It's gonna be pretty hot. There's no room for playing around. That is outdone.
You're making it hard for people to keep up with the Joneses.
This is the United States of Will Castro. Any questions?
Unique whips. A car's just a car until it's unique. Unique whips. Next week, only on Speed.
These things we count on every day started as ideas. Ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support minority education today so we don't miss out on the next big idea tomorrow. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Whoa! Beautiful gray and a nice red. Get the red out.
Oh, goodness.
That's the way to catch fish.
Back at the Orange Bowl, the news has just come in from the Sugar Bowl that third-ranked Auburn has defeated Michigan, but barely 9-7. So I think, Jan, we can safely say if Miami wins, they've got a better than good shot of going to the top.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that. That's a very conservative estimate. And if they do win, they deserve to be on top.
But to beat Nebraska, you've got to go to the final gun, and the Huskers really rip it open in the second half. Here's a home run ball. Eddie Brown is out there. He thought he was tripped, and the official now comes in with a late flag and says he was.
He had to make a decision as to whether he could catch the ball or not. It was definitely some sort of contact made about 20 yards down the field. It was a very late pattern. He was definitely beaten. Had he not touched him, and you'll see Eddie Brown going down, not quite able to get the ball. You'll see Burke standing around trying to get off the ground. He had taken a shot at Eddie and actually hit him. I think it's a good call.
Steve Dans, our NBC statistician, shows that Kosar's thrown the ball a lot, and he distributes it. Brown's caught 3, Dennison's caught 3, Shakespeare's caught 3, Albert Bentley's caught 3. This time they're going to run it. Albert Bentley gets the call. He's a tackle-breaking runner on 1st and 10. He gets across the 45-yard line of the Huskers and down to Nebraska's 42.
There have been several impressive Hurricanes tonight, Don, but I think number 16 stands right out amongst them. He's a big back weighing 225 pounds. He's 6'3". He blocks well for Kosar for the pass, and is an excellent receiver.
Boy, does he block. He hits that blitzer and makes him wish that he was back in Lincoln. It's another one. Here's a throw to Keith Griffin. And he's inside the 20 and down to the 17-yard line. Bentley just kills guys on the pass block.
Yes, he does. But you know what? It's really heads-up play by Bernie Kosar. This is the man he's supposed to be king. He was wearing number 2. But here's McCasland coming after Kosar. He sees him quickly. Bentley handles him, but he rolls to the right to make it a very easy block for Bentley. When he does so, he knows it's a blitz. He's got a one-on-one situation, finds a way to get the ball to Griffin. He picks up a long gainer and a first down. What was it that Schnellenberger said about Griffin? If he'd been playing at Nebraska, maybe he'd be a Heisman Trophy winner?
Well, his brother Archie was twice at Ohio State. Right. Archie's here for the game. Gave the invocation before it. Here's Keith Griffin again. Somebody lost a hat, but Keith Griffin keeps on going inside the 15-yard line. Wade Priner, number 85 in the game, makes the stop for the Huskers.
Tom Osborne has reason to concern himself right now because he's getting beaten at the line of scrimmage. The offensive line for the Hurricanes are taking it to the Cornhuskers, and those two backs are running the ball.
They are running it with gusto at a big Nebraska defense. Now it's 2nd down and 6 for Miami. Play whistle dead.
Too much time.
Yep.
And you know, it's funny, Mark Trestman said what we do is he is so bright, I only have to give him a very short signal before he picks it up and can relay the play. So we very seldom get caught for that. And too much time has been the result of the defense of Nebraska most of the time tonight.
You know, John, I thought you made an interesting observation. At halftime, we were talking among ourselves. You said that Kosar has fun playing football. And I think that's illustrated by his attitude towards the game. He said he wants to be a student first and foremost. He plans to be a lawyer. If he never plays after college, it wouldn't break his heart. He'd like to. But he always played football for fun. If it ever stops being, he didn't want to play the game anymore.
Doesn't look like it's ever going to stop being either.
He's having fun right now, but here's a 2nd and 10 play. They go to the draw. Keith Griffin working hard, puts 2 arms on the ball as those Nebraska Huskers led by Mike Knox, the big inside linebacker, trying to strip it from him. You remember they did early in the third quarter.
That's right.
Couldn't score points. Or did score points, scored the tying field goal.
That's right.
And Miami came back and went with the head with a go-ahead touchdown.
It's a critical time now. Jeff Davis is the man that got him into this bowl with a last-second field goal against Florida State. He's to me, I don't think you'll see them throw a high-risk pass right now. They'll give Jeff a chance to kick a field goal if they can't find a back.
End zone look at Kosar, a strike. Eddie Brown dives down to the 7-yard line. It looks like he might have enough for a first down. A 3rd and 10 play, and it appears that Miami got there.
We talked about earlier their offensive line and backs didn't make a miscue for 5 games mentally. Look at tonight. You think Bentley isn't geared into McCasland? It doesn't matter what jersey number he's wearing. He better change again.
Eddie Brown makes the catch, but again Bentley picks up the blitz to give Kosar time to deliver. And now the ball's down. 1st and goal from the Nebraska 7-yard line. 5 minutes left to play in the third quarter. Clock running. Miami in white. Almost a 2-touchdown underdog coming in, leading Nebraska 24-17 with the national championship of college football on the line of this game. Bentley.
This is number 16 has been so instrumental on the key plays. Some of them have gone unnoticed. Obviously, touchdowns do not.
At the moment, they're letting the good times roll in Miami as Albert Bentley is on the payoff end of that touchdown run. And Miami opens up a 30-17 lead.
How sweet it is, eh?
For the moment. Nebraska's come back earlier, and Jeff Davis is right there with the extra point. Now the pressure is really on the Cornhuskers.
Due to time constraints, we move ahead to later in the third quarter.
And Miami, John, has throughout the season been stronger in the second half. Rozier, he's got blockers. Puts a move on, cuts back, and Sutton makes a move on him and knocks him down. 2nd and 15 play, got back about 10 or 11, but it looked like for a moment he might go the distance.
It also looks like he has a little limp on his left leg. Listen, when a man like Sutton is sitting in the open field with Mike Rozier, you're not supposed to bring him down. The fact that he stopped him, stumbled him, made him fall out of bounds is an excellent defensive play. Excuse me. That is Kenny Calhoun that missed him originally. Now watch Reggie Sutton come up. He's sitting here with about 7 yards either side.
So now it is Turner Gill holding the ball. He breaks into open field. A first down and more as Gill comes inside the Miami 40-yard line and down to the 38. And they'll now check out the very valuable left ankle of Mike Rozier. An 11-yard gain on that carry by the Nebraska quarterback with 3 minutes left to play in the third quarter.
It's been remarkable that a man like Rozier stays as healthy as he does throughout the season, running the ball as much as he does.
Well, that is true.
Those great running backs are very durable.
5'10", 210 pounds, Nick Rozier. It's 1st and 10 now for the Huskers. Gill play faking, eludes the rush for a moment, throws on the run, and he loses his man incomplete at the 25-yard line. A great play by Turner Gill. Threw a fastball on the run, had the ball right down, but Monty Engebretson, the tight end, couldn't hold on.
Well, you see, the Miami defense did a fine job on the play, but as Howard Schnellenberger said, he said, you know, this fellow, when he doesn't throw, averages 6-7 yards a carry. When he goes back to throw and decides to run, he said he's only 8 when he does throw, so we don't really care what he does. It's going to be a tough night. They're doing it pretty well so far.
2nd and 10, Nebraska. Huskers down by 14. Pitch back. Jeff Smith, 20. A move to the 10. And the Cornhuskers lose the ball inside the 5-yard line, and Miami has it.
Tom Osborne trying to keep his group pepped up. They make a big play trying to get back in the ball game, 14 points down. Let's take a look. Dean Steinkühler, number 71. He leads Turner Gill out, gives him a little time to make the option throw. When he does so, it's a beautiful timing play. Fumble, which I don't think anybody expected, as Nebraska hasn't fumbled the ball all night. Very good tack play by Eddie Williams down there. The ball's coughed up, and an alert Miami defense falls on it. 35-yard run and a fumble.
Due to time constraints, we move ahead to later in the third quarter.
Mike Brozier, the Heisman Trophy winner, not back in the game after he was tackled that one play and injured his left ankle. Trying to walk it off. Pitch back goes to Jeff Smith. He can go, and Jeff Smith is ahead for a 5-yard gain to the 31.
I think an interesting statistic here might be to bring up that Miami is the team that on first down has averaged 8.8. You get to see it on your screen. Nebraska 3.6. That is not their style, and you must credit the Miami defensive down linemen and linebackers.
They've played very well indeed, giving away a lot of size, but when it comes to the quickness factor, Miami's up there among the national leaders. They give up less than 10 points a game. Turner Gill looks, fires, and he has a strike. Scott Kimball turning off the flank and out, goes down to the 21, a 9-yard gain. It's a Nebraska first down. That'll do it for the third quarter, John Brody. The gun sounds at the end of the third quarter. The score is Miami 31 and Nebraska 17.
Well, it's now 31-17. It got a ball game here, Coach. Are you getting concerned about Nebraska driving the ball in your defense?
Well, I felt very good about the fact that Rozier got hurt and took himself out of the game. But little did I know that this kid Smith that came in and replaced him was faster, was quicker, and turned out to be a better football player during the course of this game. Thank goodness that there wasn't too much time left for them to get another drive.
Right. And Bernie, are you on the sideline just grinding about what's going to work and
no,
what's
I'm
not
not
working?
I'm not a big watcher of what the other team's doing offensively. I'm as I joke throughout the broadcast, I'm a little chatty with guys, so I like to keep the line, the backs, the receivers in tune with what I really want to be doing on the upcoming sequence of downs and stuff. So I wasn't really watching it a lot, and I was preparing a lot for the things that we needed to do to play out the fourth quarter. But again, I didn't get into the prevention mode as much as I was still trying to play offense, and I was trying to keep the line and keep the receivers understanding that we were going to still be running our game and playing to score.
And Coach, I've always wanted to ask, I mean, at this point, you're going into the fourth quarter. You've been at Miami 5 years. You had a 5-year plan of winning the national championship. As a coach, does your mind ever drift to the end of the game that, hey, we can just hold on, you know, we win the national championship? Does it ever happen?
No, it never happens, and certainly not in this game when we're still a quarter away from winning the national
Yeah, you better be. I don't want to answer for him. I'm going to jump over the table. We don't ever hold on. Okay? We don't ever hold on.
But you know, we were playing good football. They had to make some fourth down plays in there to continue their drives. And we're playing a very good football team with a lot of tradition and a lot of pride, and had not lost a game in 22 games, so that they weren't going to go down easy, and obviously they didn't. But our defense fought the battle and slowed them down enough that they couldn't win the game going away.
And Bernie, any changes, and do you want to run more slants now, or do you want to go deep again?
Well, again, they expected us to get in that prevention mode, I think, into that running mode. Now, they've switched from their double coverage cover 2 now to where they're bringing safeties up in and around the line of scrimmage. That's when, I think, later in the fourth quarter, it's just a very telling time. We're backed up on our 1 or 2 yard line, and, you know, instead of coaches allows me the flexibility to audible. So instead of running the ball up the middle and trying to keep the clock running like 98% of the coaches are going to do and quarterbacks are going to do. I was audibling to an out to Eddie Brown to kind of get us off there. So I was still trying to be offensive and still trying to make moves down the field. And we ended up, when we were down 31-24, making one of the longest drives of the game. Unfortunately, Jeff Davis missed one of his few field goals during the year, but that was a chance to take a lot of that drama out of the game, and we just didn't put him away with the field goal.
So when we come back, we're going to watch the final quarter of this Gridiron Great.
People like you and me need to save money every day. I made one phone call to Florida No Fault, and they saved me $53 a month on my car insurance. I now have a little extra money in my pocket, and it feels great. And everybody remember, when you call Florida No Fault, you win.
Join the thousands of people that have saved money on their car insurance. Call Florida No Fault at 1-800-444-4211.
Save a lot of money, Florida No Fault.
As an Orkin man, I get asked a lot of questions.
How can anything this small be this strong?
Actually, an ant can lift 20 times its weight.
Do ants have bones?
Well, sort of. Ants wear their skeletons on the outside.
Are cockroaches really that tough?
Well, they've survived for 280 million years, unlike your popcorn.
Orkin, knowledge is our best weapon.
Step into the cage for Rays baseball on FSN Florida. Carl Crawford leads the Rays against Derek Jeter and the Yankees. Rays Yankees tomorrow at 12:30 on FSN Florida.
It's a 1-hour special presentation of Pride Fighting Championships on FSN. Brace yourself for pure dynamite, featuring the best knockouts in Pride history. Witness the unleashed fury of Quentin Rampage Jackson, Vanderlei Silva, and many more. Sunday on FSN.
These things we count on every day started as ideas. Ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support minority education today so we don't miss out on the next big idea tomorrow. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Whoa! Beautiful gray and a nice red. Get the red out.
Oh, good.
That's the way to catch fish.
Mike Rozier, and this could be the key play as he was hit on his left ankle. You'll see him cut back. Reggie Sutton catches him, and Rozier, the premier runner in the game, has not been back since.
Yes, sir. It's a big situation. But let me tell you something. They've scored. Opponents have scored only 10 points against Miami all season long. Now, that is an amazing statistic, and they've got a 14-point lead. So it's an uphill battle indeed, whether they have Mike Rozier or not. And without him, it's really steep.
Up back, takes it straight ahead, Mark Schelleen. Interesting, John, that in three Orange Bowls, Mike Rozier's never been in the end zone, never scored a touchdown in this game. And in the second half tonight, after rushing for 138 yards in the first half, he had a total of -2 yards and 3 carries in the second half. Canes were looking for him.
I think what you're seeing right now is a little change in philosophy as far as Nebraska's concerned. They're throwing the ball more than they normally do.
2nd and 9. Turner Gill takes a look. Man is open. Scott Kimball loses the ball at the end zone. Incomplete. Rod Bellinger with play after big play from Miami, and frustration builds on the Nebraska sideline.
Well, frustration should, because Turner Gill thought for sure he had a touchdown. He pulled the string on the throw just a little bit. When he did so, he had no play. You take a look, Scott Kimball's in perfect position. The ball didn't have quite enough zip on it, and Bellinger was right there.
Nebraska down 31-17, but a long way to go. 3rd and 8. Number 95, Kevin Fagan.
A soft came out 2 years ago. He was like 45 or 50 pounds lighter than this. He was a walk-on, and are they glad to see him?
Well, they are from Lake Worth, Florida. Right up the beach. Fagan's actually a sophomore, Kevin Fagan. Now 4th down, and Livingston ready to try a 47-yard field goal. He was on time with his last one. This one's taken way short and wide left, and the Hurricanes take over. The numbers break down in Miami after a big first quarter, no points in the second, and again the big third quarter. Now with 13:34 in the ball game remaining, Hurricanes take over 1st and 10 after the missed Nebraska field goal. Quick hitter, Nebraska's there to stop it. Rob Stuckey makes the stop, in Mike Rozier. The great runner for the Cornhuskers, who went out with an ankle injury, has not returned. Trying to walk off that ankle injury, was unable to. Jeff Smith has been in at the eye back when Nebraska's had the ball.
Can't do anything if you can't run. I mean, he's made a very big contribution. What's happening right now is that Miami is unexpectedly winning the battle at the line of scrimmage.
Even though they're smaller, they are indeed. Bertolucci, Comandiero, Sinclair, Ward, and Heffernan, the interior linemen for Miami. Kosar, play fake.
Screen.
Griffin catches the ball. And those Huskers are hitting tonight. A scoring recap of the game. You remember that first drive of the Hurricanes that passed to Denison? It was 7-0. 45-yard field goal by Jeff Davis. Miami extended its lead to 10-0. Then another throw to Denison from Bernie Kosar. It was a surprising 17-0 shocker. Then the surprise play by the Huskers. The 11-yard around. And Nebraska was on the board. And again on a 1-yard dive by Turner Gill, making it a 17-14 game. The third quarter field goal by Nebraska tied it. Then the Hurricanes opened up. Highsmith, the rookie, went over the top to put them in front 24-17. Albert Bentley went 7 yards for a touchdown. That's how it stands now. 31-17 Miami. Alonzo Highsmith had it and lost it. He stops the clock with the incomplete pass at 11:58, and the Huskers will get it back now as the Hurricanes have to punt. Kosar looks like he's been playing this in the big league for 10 years.
Well, I'm sure he has been going over it in his mind in the big leagues, and he'll be in them for quite a few more. You can tell some guys fit there. He's one of them.
He's got a long time to go at Miami, a freshman, actually a redshirt freshman. He's in his second year in school, but he was redshirted his freshman year. But as an athlete, he's a freshman. A line drive punt by Tootin. Flying over the ball. The Cornhuskers were able to recover it. The shoe on Mike Rozier's left foot just came off. It's been diagnosed as a severely sprained left ankle. And you have to think at this point it's unlikely he'll be back. Where are they now? Leon Hart, one of 2 linemen ever to win the Heisman. Big Leon out in Birmingham. John Hewitt, another Notre Damer, 164. Right now, Jeff Smith breaks it open for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Gets out across the 30 to close to the 35. John has taken his bonus money from the Jets and has parlayed it out in Tucson. Second down and about a foot now for Nebraska. Irving Fryer comes out in the right flank. He's not been hit deep yet. They're going to try it pretty soon, though.
But he's been hit a lot.
Oh, yeah. They're looking at deep now. Gill throws. They get the first down as they go to tight end Monty Engebretson. Taping up Mike Rozier again.
They're putting the try in anyway. You'd like to be able to go to your Heisman Trophy winner if when the game gets late and you're 2 touchdowns back, he could insert some sort of adrenaline, but I don't think it's their problem right now. Both of the backs that have replaced him, Jeff Smith and Paul Miles, they both run very well. It's at the line of scrimmage.
Miami is tough. End around, free football. Nebraska recovers, but Ricky Simmons, who took it on an end around, lost the ball in the big 300-pound tackle. Mark Benning from Denton, Texas, fell on it, but there's a loss on the play for the Huskers. And the clock runs down to 11 minutes to play.
Seems to be the way it's gone all night long. Just when something looks like it'll break, we flub a handoff. If we make a big run, somebody causes us to fumble. It hasn't gone their way, and a lot of that is because the Miami Hurricanes have played very opportunistic, aggressive defense.
Ricky Simmons goes to the sidelines. Miami was so prepared coming in. Rod Bellinger's taking some licks. Boy, he's passed some out. Right now he's helped off again. Lucius Delagal goes in to replace him, number 47. The freshman, Reggie Sutton, is up against Irving Fryer on the right flank. Over the middle they go. Todd Frame catches the ball. It's a Nebraska first down out to the 49-yard line. A 15-yard gain on the play.
They've done very well at using very few seconds on the clock, moving the ball some 35 to 40 yards down the field in some minute or less than a minute. The receivers have been able to get out of bounds after they've caught the ball. But remember, when Nebraska gets behind, they don't have a lot of drop back passes. They have that play action stuff that isn't really too effective when it's 2nd and 9, 3rd and 10, and everybody knows you're going to throw.
They go to the run. They go to the quick hitter to the fullback, Shalane. Mark Shalane gets across midfield down to the 47-yard line. On a first down carry, got about 3. Jay Brophy made the tackle for Miami.
Well, you can't say enough for the defensive play of Jay Brophy, Tony Fitzpatrick, Fagan, you name it. All those fellas are standing people up at the line of scrimmage, and that's a great football team they're playing.
Good fake by Gill. Looks long, guns it. The pass is complete downfield to the 36-yard line. Scott Kimball coming back at the ball.
Very well thrown ball and a well-run pattern.
Good for 12 yards and a first down for the Huskers.
Don, I don't think they have enough time to be fiddling around running into the line right now. I know that's their pattern, and they've always done so, and that's part of the reason I think they get in trouble when they get too far behind. Of course, they haven't done it all year long.
The catch-up offense has not been part of their repertoire.
That's right. They don't. I bet they don't practice it much.
But they have been in 2 tight games that have gone down to the final play in the end zone. The Oklahoma State game, they won 14-10, did Nebraska, and after that one time Osborne said at least they can't accuse us of running up the score in this one. And a couple of pass breakups against the Sooners of Oklahoma by cornerback Neil Harris saved that game. 28-21, Nebraska won. Jeff Smith breaks it open, and Jeff Smith rockets down to the 22-yard line. It is a first down and a 15-yard gain.
So much from my viewpoint. I start talking about how they have to throw it. Okay, take a look. Dean Steinkiller, Raridan, the 2 real big, all Big 8, all-American, all-everything linemen come out and do a fine job, give their running back a chance to run. Jeff Smith's doing the job when called upon.
Miami doesn't shy away from big teams. Notre Dame came in with a front line as big as Nebraska's, and Miami shut out the Fighting Irish here in the Orange Bowl 20-0 this year. First and 10, run takes it down to the 20-yard line. You were talking, John, about the enthusiasm, really the emotion of this whole metropolitan area rides with the Hurricanes tonight. Miami football's been down until the Howard Schnellenberger era. He's brought it back, and tonight it could hit the pinnacle.
Yes, and so many people have talked. You know, when you take a look, here's a defense that's, led the nation in so many categories, and yet they were given very little chance against what some people think is the best team that's ever played. So
Gill calls his own number. Quarterback draw. 3 steps back in the quick shoot up the middle. He's down inside the 15-yard line. Coach Osborne sends in the play. Got to be taking a look at that clock, which now is down to 8:35 and running.
They've used it very, very well. Remember, when a team picks up a first down, it automatically stops the clock until the chains are moved. So you can pick up some time that way. There's loads of time.
3rd and 2. Fumble. Tough to call signals. Very intense crowd. Looks like Turner Gill might have fallen on it, John, and if he did, he could have been enough for a first down. We'll see where they spot the ball.
He's got it, and it looks to be a first down.
Dr. Tom Osborne.
Well, I know this, that if they don't give it to him, I'd have it checked because it looks like it's close enough. It doesn't look like it is one, but it's within 6 or 8 inches.
Fourth down. Heisman Trophy winner Mike Rozier is out with an injured ankle. Nebraska without its best weapon. The pitch back to Jeff Smith. He turns the corner. He's got the first down. A from behind tackle drives him down to the 5-yard line of Miami. And now Nebraska goes first and goal from the Hurricane 5. 7:34 to play.
Tell you what, Dean Steinkuhler, you sit there and so many times people will say, well, why do we always feature him? He features him the whole scene. They run behind him a lot. He's a great blocker. He pulls very well, and he makes contact at the point of attack. In a critical situation, he picks up a big first down, or he's responsible for it.
Right now, with 7:33 to play. Miami has the lead, but Nebraska's challenging. Miami leading 31-17. Turner Gill turns up, turns in, gets down to the 1. 7:15 to play, the clock running. Nebraska, after scoring early in the third quarter after fumbling Miami, recovering a Miami fumble to tie the game, has not scored since. As you see, the Hurricane defense holding Nebraska to 35 points below its season average. Huskers come in scoring like a basketball team. 52 points a game. Over the top, Jeff Smith is in for a touchdown. 6:55 to play, and the Huskers are right back in it.
I don't think there's much doubt they'll go for the one-pointer here. Some people say, hey, wait a minute. What do we do? Do we go for the two-pointer or the one-pointer? I think psychologically it would be a defeat if you go for a two-pointer and don't make it. You see, they're starting to move off at the line, at the point of attack. Their offensive line actually had all the action on the other side of the goal line. I think it would be a downer if they went for 2 and didn't make it right here. Whereas if they kick the point, they stay within 7 and a chance to make 2 later. And without Mike Rozier.
So Johnny Rogers on the sideline. They were asking, where is he? He's right here. There is no overtime, as you know, in college football. The extra point by Livingston is up and good, and it's now a 31-24 game. Nebraska will kick off with 6:55 to play. 31-24 Miami with a 7-point lead now as Nebraska puts up its first touchdown of the second half and an over-the-top dive by tailback Jeff Smith.
Well, it's now 31-24. We have a ball game. But before we finish this Gridiron Great, let's get to a little bit about what you're doing now. Coach, you're at Florida Atlantic.
Well,
tell us about that.
Obviously, we're here in this beautiful building that we were able to get in place and plenty of time for us to start recruiting. What we're doing here at Florida Atlantic is exactly what we tried to get done at the University of Miami and the University of Louisville, and I think both of those opportunities have given me a real sense on how this needs to be done. We're starting a football team at a university that's only 40 years old, that's been playing sports a very short period of time, and we're recruiting the same caliber of kids that we recruited at Miami, and we're making a move into the highest level of collegiate play. We're right now in the Sun Belt Conference. There'll come a time that we'll be available. We'll be considered by other BCS conferences, and we hope to be in a position to play for the championship while I'm still coaching.
And do you think your stadium project that you have going is crucial to that?
Oh, it certainly is. Just like it was at Miami, only the only difference, we don't have an Orange Bowl 3 miles down the road. We have to play on campus. College football was meant to be played on campus. You can see what happened up at Louisville when Papa John Stadium came online. We had that program at a pretty good position after beating Alabama in the Fiesta Bowl 34-7. That's what gave the people there the confidence to go ahead and make that move. So this is a continuation of our drive to try to develop good football teams at great universities.
Yeah, well, I was close to joining you at Louisville for a short time there, and I think it was last year or year before they named that field in honor of what you did for that program, Howard Schnellenberger Field up in Louisville, and a great honor for you, and obviously great program that you built to a national level. And Bern, how about for you?
Well, I'm staying busy now with being Mr. Mom and having 4 kids and trying to keep the three of my 4 kids are daughters. They're tall like me and beautiful like my wife. So
they're better looking than
Yeah, they're beautiful. So I have to keep the smooth-talking quarterbacks away from dating my daughters right now. But I'm messing around. I have a steakhouse down in Miami and have some developments, housing development up in St. Lucie with D.R. Horton, and own the Harbortown Marina with a good friend and partner of mine, Butch Turpentine, and run a little business here that keeps me out of trouble.
Oh, I hear you jingling the hardware over there. Show everybody your rings.
Yeah.
You got the old national championship
the national
ring.
championship ring and the Super Bowl ring that I broke out in honor of you guys today.
So you can show the camera there.
Yeah.
You got the Super Bowl, Cowboys. Yep. Well, that's
You know,
great.
it's funny, we're talking about the Orange Bowl game today. Of all the games I've played and all the playoff games, the AFC, NFC championship games, the Super Bowl, this, you're not saying it just because we're doing this thing, the electricity and noise and enthusiasm that was in the Orange Bowl that night was unparalleled to any game that I had ever been a part of.
Well, it's interesting because we're here in the Founders Lounge, and so much of what we did and what you helped establish at Miami was a foundation for so many young players. And as a quarterback, you got used, that foundation was to play at a very high level in front of a great crowd. And you took that all the way through to your NFL career, my NFL career, and all the former players. And we owe that a lot to Coach Schnellenberger.
Well, there's been a great run that we've been able to put together, and to see as many players have the opportunity to go to the National Football League is very rewarding. 77 players in the 5 years at Miami and the 10 years at Louisville. 77 players.
Well, you've left, I'm not saying this to be nice, but you've left a huge mark on a lot of our lives. I mean, I know I joked about I wouldn't be here today as successful as I've been in some things without you being really my second father and having faith and confidence in me.
Oh, Bernie, thank you very much.
Again, we appreciate being here today. And so when we come back, we're going to watch the incredible finish to this Gridiron Great.
If you've never tasted Papa John's Smokehouse Bacon and Ham Pizza, you've never tasted the rich, authentic flavor of our hickory smoked bacon and ham. Fresh sliced green peppers and onions. And our fresh hand-tossed dough. If you never tasted Papa John's better ingredients, taste the difference quality makes. Taste our new Smokehouse Bacon and Ham Pizza for $11.99. Call or click papajohns.com.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
So into you, I can't think of nothing else. I am so into you.
Roger, it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Texas Pete hot sauce. It's the bottle with the cowboy. Also try Texas Pete Buffalo wing sauce.
Step into the cage for Rays baseball on FSN Florida. Carl Crawford leads the Rays against Derek Jeter and the Yankees. Rays Yankees tomorrow at 12:30 on FSN Florida.
All new rides. I gotta get these runs done for 50's Phantom. All new celebs.
And the bio's better than unique.
All new season of unique whips.
Everybody who's somebody gets their cars done here.
There's some love fast.
It's gonna be pretty hot.
There's no room for playing around.
That is outdone.
You're making it hard for people to keep up with the Joneses.
This is the United States of Will Castro. Any questions?
Unique whips. A car is just a car until it's unique. Unique whips. Next week, only on Speed.
These things we count on every day started as ideas. Ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support minority education today so we don't miss out on the next big idea tomorrow. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
It's a 1 hour special presentation of Pride Fighting Championships on FSN, featuring the best knockouts in Pride history. Brace yourself. Sunday on FSN.
Great ball game on the golden anniversary of the Orange Bowl. Don Criqui with John Brody. John, an interesting dilemma now facing Nebraska. If they should tie this game, would they get the next touchdown? Would they go for the tie and maybe get the national championship? They could conclude unbeaten.
I think they definitely would if they did it soon enough. But I think if it happened late in the ball game, they'd go for the win. And I think we'd have a chance to see whether Tom Osborne thought it was better to win the national championship or to win the Orange Bowl. I know it would be a very unpopular decision if it happened late and they didn't take a shot to win it, but those are coaching decisions. I can remember a game several years ago where there was a 10-10 tie between a couple of nationally ranked teams, and it didn't settle well with the fans at all in Notre Dame, did it?
People forget, though, Michigan State punted after Notre Dame did.
Yeah, that man seemed to survive quite well.
A high spinning kick down to Keith Griffin. He's got a problem. Look at those Huskers come down. Oh, these guys are playing like champions now. 6:49 to play. Miami has the ball. John, of course, a moment ago referring to the 1966 game between the two unbeatens, Notre Dame and Michigan State. Ended in a 10-10 tie, and the Irish won the national championship.
And it was for the same reason that they went for the tie. So, you know, if people make such a large issue of who wins the national championship, and people have done so, which is most important?
It's a pretty large issue, Broads.
That's right.
The whole state of Nebraska rallies around the Big Red, and right now they're putting the heat on. Kosar hit from behind, but he gets it to Eddie Brown. Eddie Brown's got some moves he hadn't used yet.
I think, you know what I think? I think Bernie Kosar would like to have access to what this camera does. He'd like to see number 87 coming around. That's right. You know, Bill Weber hitting him in the back just as he lets go of the ball. It'd be a whole lot easier to play that position if you could.
That was the NBC remote camera up on the goalpost. Eddie Brown with his 5th reception. He got Miami out of jail for the moment. It's 2nd down and 4 right now. Miami leading 31-24 with 6:41 to play. Keith Griffin puts his head down, and Big Rob Stuckey knocks him down. It's 61 degrees in Miami.
A lot warmer on the field underneath those shoulder pads and helmets.
Light it up, signaling the new year.
That's a little mock-up of a man that's injured. I guess all's fair and whatever, not by me. Let's see what Bernie Kosar does here. I think there's a good chance you'll see him throw a pass in the 3rd and 2 right here. Little short one.
Nebraska blitzing. Bernie throws. He's got Keith Griffin. He's got a 1st down. McCashlin and Brett Clark knocked him down, but the money throw from freshman Bernie Kosar to senior Keith Griffin gets a 1st down for Miami, and you see the clock 5:51 to play.
I tell you, he had Keith Griffin so far open, he threw that thing like a shot put. That baby was not going to get anywhere but to old Keith. Good play at a critical time. Good call.
Old Keith is all business, too, isn't he, when he gets it? To that earlier fumble, he's made some big plays all night long for Miami. Got away from the Buckeyes, did Keith Griffin. Left Columbus to come to Miami. 1st and 10, Hurricanes. Keith Griffin, he's popped by Mike Knox, that tough inside linebacker who broke 5 helmets already this season.
How'd he break them? While they were on his head, or?
Yes, he did. He didn't drop them after practice.
All right, Mike Knox, outstanding linebacker.
So he broke them.
Gets in good position.
6'3", 235, Mike Knox from Castle Rock, Colorado. Butkus type. See, they don't like to be around him in practice. He didn't know when it's the real thing or not. He knows, but he likes to go full speed all times. Knox, 2nd down and 9 now, Miami. Hurricanes lead by 7. 4:40 to play. In the flat, it goes to Eddie Brown, and he dives ahead. Breaks it open. Look at this play. just fabulous athletic ability. 41 yards.
There are a lot of people with great athletic ability, Don, but there aren't many people that continually come up with the needed play at the needed time. Kosar's one, and number 40, Eddie Brown. He's the fellow that got them back in the ball game against Florida State, gave them a chance to kick a field goal late, win the ball game. Beautiful play, breaking those two tackles.
Boy, it was a tremendous play. 31-24, Miami and White with the lead. Kosar has set an Orange Bowl record for passing yardage, 300 yards for the freshman. Live action, Albert Bentley. He's been quiet for a while, but not now.
Oh! That was a touchdown. If he keeps his feet, he made so many good moves to get in the open. It was very difficult to keep his balance, but what a great play. There's another man, number 16. Their offensive personnel has really outplayed Nebraska's tonight. Number 20, 16, 44, 40, you name them. Number 6, Stanley Shakespeare, early in the ball game. All of their, what you call skilled positions, have had great nights.
Albert Bentley with the big run, as you pointed out, John. He was gone, and to be able to hold his footing, he did get up first down. This holds up, there's going to be some party in Miami.
Well, you know, it's funny. No matter how much you hear,
will be up late.
No matter how much you hear and how much enthusiasm the city of Miami had, all the smart people said, hey, yeah, but they're playing against Nebraska. Now, who did they beat? They beat some good teams. I'll tell you, East Carolina and Florida State at the end of the year were playing exceptional football. Anybody that saw them play in a bowl game knows. And these guys have come to play.
Blitz. Again, they pick it up. Keith Griffin. Going to the draw play. And Keith Griffin is ahead on a first down carry down to the 26-yard line.
You know, by design, when you're blitzing against a draw play, you should stop it for a loss. But if just a small crack opens and the offensive linemen use good technique, they can break something for the back, and he can pick up good yardage. That's what happened. Kosar read the blitz, gave the linemen a chance to see their blocks, and look at the crack they created. Beautiful play. Bentley, number 16, was in there at the point of attack.
Juan Comandiero, the Cuban-born guard, had the big seal block to open the draw. At second down and a long 4, Keith Griffin runs, and the Cornhuskers, Rob Stuckey rides him down. But importantly now, the clock continues to tick. Working against the top-ranked and unbeaten Cornhuskers, who at the moment trail Miami 31-24.
And if they get one more timeout, it's going to force Nebraska to take their timeouts before they get possession of the ball. This is a very big play. Now, if they can move the ball about 3 yards, they'll be able to kick a 40-yard field goal, and this ball game would be history. So I expect them to probably either throw a short out or try to run the ball about 3 yards.
Let's see, it's third down and a long 3. Keith Griffin, nothing there, and the Cornhuskers shut it down. It brings up fourth down. And the game clock continues to tick. 1:53, 52. Now they stop it. One of Coach Schnellenberger's sons. Another one's on the team. Stu Schnellenberger, an important part of it. 1:53 to go in Miami's quest for a national championship. Not New Year's night in Miami, but the celebration's bigger than any New Year's, as right now the Hurricanes, an underdog, are leading top-ranked and unbeaten Nebraska 31-24. Bernie Kosar's right arm has been a key. The freshman from Boardman, Ohio. And another very, very difficult factor that's mitigated against the Cornhuskers is the injury to their great runner, Mike Rozier, the Heisman Trophy winner, out with an injured ankle. Went out in the second half. Fourth down now. Here's the field goal attempt. Jeff Smith drills it. Didn't get there. Nebraska will get the ball with 1:47 to play. John, we're going down to the final gun, it looks like, in this one.
And you can see some coaches are very quiet and passive. Others get their group ready. And this man has been an inspirational force for this group all year long. He's not about to take a back seat right now. 1 minute and 47 seconds between the Miami Hurricanes and a national championship.
Neither team trailing by 7. Irving Fryer. Rod Bellinger saved a touchdown. Finally, Fryer, who's been dormant, explodes for 29 yards, very nearly exploding for the distance.
What a beautiful throw. Oh. Now that was a play in which he only took 3 steps back. It's the first pass in this half on first down. And that is a very effective decision itself.
29 yards, it used 6 seconds. It's covering some ground.
A lot of timeouts left, a lot of time. There's no hurry either way, but I think this man has left it all out there. Rodney Bellinger, number 4, has done a phenomenal job on Irving Fryer. Played him one-on-one throughout most of the evening, stopped a lot of in sweeps. Let's take a look here. Just a little 3-step drop. He catches Fryer in between the zone, and we're back on the field.
Live action, 1st and 10. Gill gets it away on the run. Shane Swanson goes up in the air, but came down empty. Overthrow. It's Lee 2nd down and 10. And the game clock shows 1:28 to play.
Jack Fernandez made another good play, forcing Turner Gill to throw the ball a little before he wanted.
Nebraska, unbeaten, the dominant team in college football this year with a 52-point-a-game scoring average, trying to come back without the Heisman Trophy winner Mike Rozier sidelined with an injured ankle. That's the amount of time remaining in the game. Here's a throw, and down with the ball is Ricky Simmons. It's a good catch, and the Huskers have it down to the 26-yard line of Miami, a 19-yard gain.
Beautiful pattern. That was perfectly timed and a beautiful pattern. They can throw that ball from a drop back, and people have talked about for what Nebraska does. Turner Gill is a great quarterback. I think he could be an exceptional T-formation pro-style quarterback. It's just that he can adapt to any style.
Ricky Simmons way wide now, and here's a give up the middle, and this time the Hurricanes defense is there to shut down Jeff Smith as the clock runs. 1:13 to go. Tom Osborne, a doctor of educational psychology, PhD. He can stay under control, and so can Coach Schnellenberger. 2nd down and 8. 1:12 to play. Turner Gill with his 28th pass. Irving Fryer, he dropped the ball. The best receiver in the country, but even the great ones have a lapse. And Fryer's came at a most inopportune time.
Irving Fryer has not been a big factor tonight. He's got a chance, as the great ones always do, to make the catch to put them back in the ball game, and he dropped the gimme.
Free ball. Steinkuhler picks it up. We'll see if it's a fumble. Apparently they're ruling his arm was in motion, were they not, John?
Well, it's pretty tough to tell.
A play they'll never forget if Nebraska doesn't go in.
Now, I don't know if this man has ever dropped a ball. They've never been in this kind of situation before, but to be regarded as one of the top 5 players in college football, you couldn't have ever dropped a ball in a situation like that. And I don't think there's any more to say, because nobody could feel worse. He's just hoping to get another chance.
That's it. And now it could be his very last one, because the Cornhuskers have 4th down coming up. 4th down and 8. The ball at the 24-yard line of Miami. One last look. The earlier play, Irving Fryer with the goal line sprint. A perfectly thrown ball from Gill, but it's dropped. He split the defenders and was wide open, was Irving Fryer. And then in his heartbreak, he collapses to the ground. And now 4th down is coming up for Nebraska. The Cornhuskers with the longest winning streak in major college football. They've won 22 straight games. 12-0 this season. Ranked number 1 all year. But they're down by 7. Look at this play. Jeff Smith. Touchdown, Nebraska! The Cornhuskers somehow find a way with Mike Rozier on the sideline, his backup. Jeff Smith takes the pitch back up. Brilliantly executed play by Turner Gill. 24 yards and a touchdown. Now it's a 31-30 game. And what does Nebraska do?
I have not seen the kicker come on the field, and I don't think he's coming on the field. And I might as well, I think that they've got things going their way. Tom Osborne made this decision a long time ago. Don't think that this situation caught him by surprise. He's decided to go for two and take his shot at winning. I commend him for it.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska. Incomplete. Tell you this, Tom Osborne in Nebraska could have had the national championship in all probability with an extra point that would have tied it. They'd have still finished unbeaten. But courage was so evident there. The integrity of Nebraska football in that whole state was on the line. They gambled and lost, but they're certainly to be given great credit for trying.
And let's remember, this ball game is not over.
Right you are. 48 seconds left to play.
But this is the try. I think he made the right call. I just commend a guy that has the nerve to do that. He's willing to put it out there on the line. He called a good play. The ball was dropped. That's the way football goes. Miami's played a great football game. And if in 48 seconds they become the winner, they certainly deserve to be national champions.
The golden anniversary of the Orange Bowl turns out to be the greatest game of all.
And an onside kick, I don't think we have to make much discussion about. It will happen. Let's see how it comes out.
Coach Howard Schnellenberger. His heartbeat's got to be 180.
He knows this case is not closed. Mark Trestman is down there saying, look, Coach, if we recover the ball, we do not have to run a play to run out the clock. They've got 2 timeouts. That won't be enough. We'll be able to end this thing and go in a winner. But they must get the onside kick. I thought they had some timeouts, and they don't.
What a football game. In the golden anniversary year, Steve Lynch, the Orange Bowl president, all the people on the Orange Bowl committee had hoped for a great game. There was speculation Miami would be blown out. Everybody here had faith in Tom Osborne. Showed his dignity and his courage, going for the win. The Huskers didn't get it, though. And now Miami has only to run out the clock.
And, you know, just like ball games go and certain people are kind of ordained to do certain things, the last play of the ball game, number 16, Albert Bentley, comes down with the onside kick. There have been a lot of great plays. I guess the last one's always the most important.
You know, when you're in this business, John, you always get asked, what's the greatest game you ever were at or saw? This is it for me.
And this is about as fine a football game as ever been played, and happens to be for the national championship. That man has done it all.
Set it to music. This is Hurricane Warning, #1 in Miami.
They say the wind is picking up. I heard it just this morning. The flags are being raised because it's a full-blown hurricane warning. They're lining in formation, all shining orange and green. Busting butt on their own turf. There's nothing they ain't seen. You just look out, Nebraska. Better hold on to your corn, because the hurricane is coming. It's looking like a storm. Block 'em. You can do it now. Knock 'em to the ground. Drag 'em to the red zone and kick their butts around. Hit 'em where the corn don't grow. Plant 'em in the ground. Make sure they hear the warning that the hurricane's in town.
Watch out for the hurricanes, they're stirring up the night. When you make a move, you better make it right. Watch out for the hurricanes.
much for hurricane warning, and now the final 46 seconds of this game. Game that'll be replayed emotionally by these players and their fans throughout the years. A hallmark game in college football. A great demonstration of courage by Nebraska going for the win, and for Miami an absolutely miracle year. The dream season as they come back from a bad loss opening day to go to 11 straight wins, and in all probability when the votes are in, a first ever national championship for the Hurricanes.
And I'd like to say that the coaching staff, the players themselves, felt they were going to win tonight. They were not in awe of Nebraska. Now, many of the fans were, most of the writers were, and I think anybody who had seen Nebraska play was. But these guys did it because they knew they could.
I'll tell you right now, school's out. This place up for grabs.
Well, what a finish. 31-30, Bernie running off the field with the ball. What do you remember about
Well,
that?
it's probably one of the only insubordinate moments or selfish moments I've
So
had.
those coaches were right about you.
Yeah, in one respect. Is we're in the huddle, everyone's kind of high-fiving, thinking, hey, good game, and Ian Sinclair center, and my roommate goes, God, I'm going to get to keep the football. And I look up, and it reminded me, like, oh, no, you're not, bro. So I called one extra play, but because of the 30-second clock, we really didn't need to run it. The clock would have ran out, but, you know, you've been to my house, and you see that baby glowing right there in the trophy case. So we ran one bonus extra play for a little TV time.
And Coach, you know, after the game, what's your thoughts now at this point?
Well, as I was standing there and they're going for the two-point play, I firmly believed that God was going to take care of us, and He did through the hand of Kenny Calhoun, and what a great game. You know, my wife couldn't bear it. But my wife Beverly, she and my son Tim went under the stands, couldn't bear to watch it. She heard a shout. She came out, and thank God we had sustained ourselves.
Well, I didn't watch it because I was getting the guys ready. I was trying to, you know, there's an emotional spectrum and roller coaster that we go through, and part of my coaching and grooming was to, you know, prepare guys. So if I was telling them, don't worry about it. I was telling guys that we want them to score because we want to go out there and win it, because I didn't want to have the line and receivers be all down in the dumps and all crushed and all into that. I wanted them thinking and preparing and have their mindset that we're going to have to go out and make plays, and it's like a light switch. You know, you can't flip it on and off. So I wanted our guys offensively to be really contemplating that they still need to block a little longer, they still need to make a couple more plays, because there was plenty of time, you know, almost 40 seconds and 2 timeouts. I made sure I saved them in the second half to go down and get back in field goal range or get a score. So we really missed it offensively because we were preparing, you know, to get the winning drive.
You know now why we selected him to guide our football team early in this year. We knew that tough times would come, and Bernie would be the guy that would be able to manage that, rally the team, and make good things happen. Example, losing the opening game down there against Florida and coming back and going undefeated from that time on. So, special person.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the two-point decision, though. I mean, if you're in Tom Osborne's shoes, are you doing the same thing?
Well, whether I would or whether I wouldn't is hard to say, but I know that he did what he thought was the right thing and what most people thought was the right thing, to try to give the kids a chance to win the Orange Bowl game, and then while doing that, winning the national championship. The thing that people don't understand is you might go up there and kick at that extra point and get it blocked or miss it, and that would be worse than any other choice you could have made.
Right. And you had the perfect defense on at that point?
Well, we thought it was. I asked Tom Olivadotti what defense he was going to call, and he said 4-3 double dog trio. I said, that's a good call. I didn't say it was a good call because I had studied it as much as he has, because he had studied every two-point play they had, and that sprint out that they used with a double slant, which was in essence a pick with a number 3 receiver, the halfback coming out of the backfield, Smith, and it was almost a perfect throw. If it had been perfect, I don't know if Kenny could have stretched out far enough to get it. But it was about right.
But you're trying to be nice on it. It was almost a pick. It was flat out a pick, and justice prevailed because that illegal little screenplay, you know, had him about from a quarterback perspective. And Turner Gill played an exceptional second half and a brilliant fourth quarter. But he's probably about, you know, in retrospect, he's probably 6 to 8 inches behind the throw that he would really optimally want if he had to do it over again. And there's no question in his whole life you're going to remember that.
Well, it's interesting to as a defense coordinator, Tom Alvadotti, to call a defense with such conviction after watching the team drive and have all the right answers, although it did come down to a 4th and 8. 4th and 8, are you on the sideline saying, all right, just stop them, we win this game? Or
well, again, no, because I don't want to be a pessimist, but like I don't like the guys to start thinking somebody else is going to win the game for you. With my guys offensively, I was always into we are going to need to do it, and you could always revert back if you need to take a knee and not do anything. But I didn't want the guys thinking that we were going to have a gift to us. So I kind of was expecting. I didn't want them to get the 24-yard touchdown, obviously, but I was kind of gearing the guys towards, hey, we're going to have to go make a score.
Well, Coach, some final thoughts here as we sat and watched this unbelievable ball game, the game that really set the tone for Miami. Some final thoughts from you?
Well, particularly coaches and players, but coaches because they have so many opportunities. Very seldom to get an opportunity to play in a game of this magnitude. All the games that I've been in, Don Shula's Super Bowl games and other big games when I was assistant with Paul Bryant, but none of these games have had the meaning for me personally or for my teams as this game did. And, you know, it's really hard to think about football after a game like that. But that's the thing we got to do. We got to, after a game like that, we got to enjoy it for a while, and then we got to get back on our horse and go riding again.
And Byrne, what did this mean to you?
Well, again, I was so young at the time, but again, the electricity and ability just to culminate a goal of, our goal is, that year was to win the national championship, and people kind of ridiculed us. There wasn't as big a passion within the city and within the university for the football team at that point, and we were somewhat laughed at and maybe mocked a little bit for saying early in the year we're going to want to win the national championship. And I was, as you guys know, I'm a tad bit opinionated, so telling people that even after the Gainesville loss, to have that come to fruition was just really satisfying.
Well, and it really was. It was the game that really set the tone for the University of Miami to do an unprecedented run, 4 national championships. It set the tone that Miami was a true powerhouse. And I appreciate everybody joining us today on this Gridiron Great, the 1984 National Championship game, University of Nebraska and the Miami Hurricanes. We'll see you again soon.